accident, you know it's no walk in the park. Car repairs, medical bills, and lost time from work all add up. And if the insurance company isn't paying their fair share, you have to cover the rest, even if it wasn't your fault. That's why you need an advocate. Call us today, and we'll do everything we can to get you moving again. Come on.
You deserve clear, risk-free advice to help get you back on your feet. You deserve an advocate.
This is The Monty Show, the truth in sports talk streaming. When you want unbiased opinions about your favorite team without the spin, all you have to do is find The Monty Show, streaming live and available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on YouTube. And now, here's Monty.
Hey, The Monty Show, live on your YouTube machine. You going to make it over there or what?
I don't know. I mean, you just keep knocking our award over here.
Our award. You mean my award.
Okay,
Jake woke up in a certain types of way today, which is fine. The Monty Show presented as always by The Advocates at theadvocates.com. The best injury attorneys in the business, and I love working with The Advocates because they genuinely care about your community, and they are working as we speak with The Road Home, one of America's foremost homeless advocacy groups in the entire country, partnered with The Advocates to deliver the basic essentials for kids facing homelessness to succeed in school. So we're talking about things like backpacks, school supplies like pencils, paper, clothing like shoes, socks, underwear, so that they can go to school and compete and end the cycle of homelessness in their families and in their lives. And you can make a difference as well. This Friday is Giving Friday. You know that we usually do that every Friday, but you don't have to wait till Friday. Right now, make a donation to The Advocates on Venmo. Advocates donations, as you see right here. $5, $1 million. If you've got it in your wallet, you got it in your heart. And really, let's be honest, if you've got it on your, Apple Pay system, nobody uses Android. But if you happen to be one of the Neanderthals on Android and you use whatever the hell Google Pay is, you can do that as well. Advocates donations, quite literally, friends, $1, $5, $100. It makes all the difference in the world. Please put a memo that says there's a little section on Venmo for a memo. Monty Show for the kids, Monty Show kids, kids funding, Monty's a pimp, whatever you want to say in that box would be amazing to help The Advocates end the cycle of poverty. Connor says, someone gift me a membership. Well, why don't you gift yourself a membership?
Yeah, I don't know. You could get a job and pay for your own membership.
It's $2 a month. You vagrant. It's $2 a month. Pete Forte, hello. OG Gary, dude. Mike Smith, stop this jazz talk. Well, now that the Olympics have been given to Salt Lake City, it's all we can talk about today. The unbelievable news changing nobody's life. That Salt Lake City got the winter anyway.
Man.
San Diego State, Glenn, Giggity, hello. MAGA Boy already got filtered today for something, and I don't know for what. It does not tell us. It just says that YouTube has already filtered MAGA Boy's comments.
What time is it? We're 6 minutes into the program. How?
I have no idea. But hey, MAGA Boy, at least you're here and we appreciate that. Shout out to Welcome to the Nightmare. Swoosh 2K. Swoosh 2K. Okay. Glenn says there's no Hall without Oates and there's no Monty without J2H. Share the damn award. Okay. I mean, it is. DVDV, you have VD twice. Start the market and trade talks. Okay. Matt Ritson, hello. We have Lauri Markkanen and trade talks coming up. No doubt about that. Here on the Monty Show, presented by The Advocates. But the Olympics start today. So just real quick, let's spend 3 hours talking about the Olympics. The Paris Olympics today open in Paris.
Right.
With football and football. Are we excited about that? Are we looking forward to the Paris Olympics?
Yeah, I mean, the Olympics are fun. I mean, I'm more of a Winter Olympic guy than a Summer Olympic guy for sure, but it's still the Olympics. And I think that, like with the women's national team for soccer, people are making a big deal out of Alex Morgan not being on the team this year, and there's some changes. And so I'm looking forward to the inevitable take by the haters that say, the Team USA shouldn't win by like 50 goals in this tournament every single game they play. I'll look forward to those talks. So,
Ooh. I'm not interested. I like the Olympics on some level. I'm probably more of a don't give a shit about either the Summer or the Winter Olympics guy, rather than for everyone or the other. But my wife is a huge fan of the Olympics. She's like going to quit her job to volunteer now in 2034. In all seriousness, I am looking forward to the Olympics. I guess I like the running stuff. I like the sprinting.
What do we think about the flag bearer James being one of our
Why do you hate
bearers?
him? What has LeBron done that you hate him?
I just think it's funny, dude.
You're always the guy that rolls out, oh, LeCap, and like what has he ever done that you dislike him for?
Well, I mean, in basketball, he's lost more than he's won. That's a start. But I mean, I don't.
Well, how many championships does Kevin Durant have?
And
then how many does LaRing have?
Why don't you want to have fun with his name? Like what like why are you so hard over Braun now? Like,
well, I'm not hard over
I don't know what the issue is.
I don't know. I think it's interesting that every chance anybody gets, they're capping LeBron. And I've never understood the easy button on LeBron. And again, I guess it's just who we have become. But the guy is one of the most successful basketball players ever. And now it's La GM, La Flag Bearer, La Cap. Like, I just don't understand the hate for the guy. That's what I think it part and parcel of what we do in sports is we hate guys that are successful. We hate Tom Brady because he's banging Gisele Bündchen and he is deflating balls. Right? Like we hate Michael Jordan. We hate sometimes I get worn out on it with LeBron because everybody's hating on him over Bronny. Okay, if you had a chance to have your son make generational money and you could play together for the fucking Lakers, you're telling me you wouldn't do the exact same thing he's doing?
Yeah,
of course you would.
I think you would. I think the issue is that the Lakers don't want to say that they drafted him because he's Bronny's son.
Right, but that's not LeCap's fault. Right? That's not LeGM's fault. That's not La Flag Bearer's fault. LeBron did what he was supposed to do. I don't know. I don't know what, I just get worn out on it. Like, it's all I heard yesterday. Watching that shitty Pat McAfee show yesterday. I don't know where that show has gone.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know what happened to the Pat McAfee show. It was the best sports talk show in the business less than a year ago. It was incredible. And now that show is almost unwatchable. It's almost unwatchable. But anyway, the point is, I don't know. Every show you turn on, nobody will just pay LeBron the respect he deserves. You just won't.
I mean, what is there to say? He's one of the best basketball players we've ever had. Yeah, his son is in the NBA. He's going to be one of the flag bearers. Coco Gauff was announced today, I believe it was. It might have been yesterday, as the other flag bearer to walk with
the
female.
LeBron,
the female flag bearer.
There's one male and one female
to lead, Team USA through the ceremony, and that's great. Good for LeBron. Good for LeBron.
Yeah. Okay. Just asking. Why you disrespect everybody all the time. I know Skip Jakey. I understand.
I just
Jake
think it's
Bayless.
Hilarious that all of a sudden you're like, it's fun to change LeBron's name to La Flag Bearer or La Cap or La GM.
Yeah, because you don't like the guy. I get it. I understand. You're right. When you hate people, it's fun to.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Do you like LeBron? Not particularly.
I don't like him, but I don't hate him as much as I hate Luka. I don't hate him as much as I hate.
Oh, now you hate
first
Luka.
team. I've always hated Luka. That's not new on this show.
Okay.
I don't know. I think that you're just burned out on talking Bron, which is fine.
No, I'm not burned out on talking Bron. I love talking about the Lakers. I hate that I don't know how we got on this thing, but I just hate that we won't respect greatness. That's what it is. And then we'll be like, man, we didn't appreciate that guy when he was playing. No shit, Sherlock. I could have told you that, LeCap.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like it is. And I think OG Gary's the one who said it. Jake on the skip juice. I think that's what it is.
But it's not the skip juice, dude. Skip is somebody who made his entire career on hating on Bron. I'm simply having fun with the dude's name because it seems like right now in his career, he's getting every single accolade possible. And that's great for him. I'm not even upset about it. I was purely making a joke about the guy's name. Like, I didn't say he sucks. I didn't say he's overrated. I didn't say that Jordan
you started
was better.
talking about how he doesn't have a good hairline.
I didn't actually. I didn't mention that today.
No. Maybe I was just thinking how shitty his hairline is.
So, I don't even think I'm hating on the guy. I'm not. Like, you asked me what I thought about the Olympics.
I think he got a lot of shit over the flag bearer thing. And I don't know. I spent a lot of time in the dark yesterday. And when you're in the dark listening to Pat McAfee do a really terrible show, I do think sports talk's turned into hot take guy. Like with this, like the Lauri Markkanen trade's a really good example of this. We are in a position now where I think Lauri Markkanen's getting traded. I don't have any doubt about that. I think I bumped the can we call him LaMarkkanen now? Is that everybody's got to be
sure,
something?
I guess that's approved.
La shitbag Chicago Bull who's turned into a player with La Jazz. Like now we have to say La Jazz. Dilly. I don't know. It's not my show. You won the award on your own.
Salt Lake City.
Like on your own. Like the Jake won this award.
Yeah, the two-hole show
by himself here on La Jake show. I'm just saying that Lauri is a guy that I bump up the Lauri meter to like 80%. I think the Jazz will trade him. And I think it's really interesting that, if you look at the two major suitors that we've talked about on this show, and I know we don't know shit from Shinola and we don't have sources and, it's all about trust me, LeBro. Like to me that obviously, duh. But if you look at what we've been reporting, the Spurs and the Warriors, as we've told you now for several weeks, are the leading contenders. The problem is the Spurs are only offering Keldon Johnson. And I'm here to tell you that Danny Ainge is not interested in a Keldon for Lauri swap. He's not interested in that. And I think when you start seeing that the Warriors have not wavered, they are willing to trade one of their two young guys, Pods or Kuminga, to make this deal happen. And I think one of the real telltale signs about this deal getting closer is now you are seeing that the San Antonio Spurs are willing to put in a third first-round pick. And you can tell that they are seeing that they have to come with a sense of urgency to get this deal done. I'm telling you, the Golden State Warriors, from what I was told yesterday, are firmly in the driver's seat to make this trade happen. There is no sense of urgency as we sit here on the 24th of July. There is no sense of urgency to make that deal happen now. Today, the Jazz are going to drag this out as long as they can because La GM Danny Ainge is a guy. What is that? Not the proper nomenclature on your show?
La Trade Machine Ainge.
Like when the league gets Ainge, my point. When Danny Ainge finally decides to make this deal, I think it is going to be Podziemski, 3 first-round picks, and a player from a third team. And I think that the Jazz are going to have to send out multiple players. And I think that Andrew Wiggins is going to have to be traded by Golden State. Golden State, I can also tell you, I was told by a different source yesterday, Golden State does not have an Andrew Wiggins deal. And that is one of the major hurdles because, again, And I know that people like to argue with Lamonti on this, but what I'm telling you is that this deal for Golden State doesn't happen with Andrew Wiggins on the roster. Period. End of story. If the Utah Jazz and the Golden State Warriors make a deal that involves Lauri Markkanen, Andrew Wiggins is standing in the way of long-term security for Golden State. And Lauri Markkanen, I do not believe, would willingly go to Golden State without a renegotiation of his current deal for this coming season and the promise of an extension going forward. And the reason, again, that is so significant is Lauri Markkanen currently at his $18 million number does not qualify for a maximum extension to his contract. And he is eligible to be extended August 6th. And the actual mechanism of that is the Jazz will, or somebody will, renegotiate his salary for the coming season from $18 million to $34 million. And then they will extend his contract, and he will have an AAV that is likely somewhere in the low to mid 40s. He currently does not qualify for that low to mid 40s number because he's only making $18 million. And per the terms of the collective bargaining agreement, he has to be at, I think the number's $33.8 million this coming season. He is not. So I continue to tell you that the only way this deal gets done for a team like Golden State, who would be a repeater if they go over the salary cap again and break the aprons, which they would do with Wiggins and Markkanen on this roster, and they're not going to do that. Because I would also remind you that they are in a position where they cannot take on salary beyond their own bird rights players. They're not in a position to make this deal happen now. They've got to find either a third team to make a Markkanen deal who will take Andrew Wiggins, or they need to trade Andrew Wiggins independently. It is as simple as that. I think Golden State remains in the driver's seat, mainly because Danny Ainge is not interested in Keldon Johnson. I think that one thing is very clear. Keldon Johnson is not the same player that Brandin Podziemski is. He does not project to be as good as Pods is and has been and will be. He is not the shooter that Pods is. If you look at the numbers last year, Keldon Johnson did not start the entire season. He is a less than 50% field goal shooter. He is a good, certainly not great three-point shooter in the low 30 percentile. It doesn't make a lot of sense for the Jazz to build a trade around Keldon Johnson and first-round picks when Golden State is so willingly, as a trade partner, willingly giving you one of their best young players, and they are willing to make a deal to get you that third first-round pick, which, again, I want to reiterate, I know it's being reported that Danny Ainge is demanding 4 first-round picks. Danny Ainge is not demanding 4 first-round picks. I was told point blank yesterday, Danny Ainge is looking for at least a young player and 3 first-round picks that are quality first-round picks. Danny Ainge, and I think you'll see that at the end of this deal, if this trade gets made, somebody else's first-round pick is going to be part of this. If let's say that it is Golden State, they're going to move 2 first-round picks, and somebody else's first-round pick that is quality will be part of this. The main reason that Lauri Markkanen is not wearing an Atlanta Hawks uniform right now is because they don't have a quality first-round pick that they can move to the Jazz. They don't want the Jazz, and Danny Ainge do not want first-round picks, for instance, that are top 12 protected. There's no value in that for the Jazz. If they're going to tank, they need 20, 24, 25, and specifically the 2025 NBA draft, which is projected, Cooper Flag be damned, is projected to be one of the top 10 draft classes in the modern era of the NBA with that much talent, including Cooper Flag. It is going to be one of the best drafts on paper that we have seen in this generation of NBA. And if that is in fact the case, Danny Ainge is not doing a Lauri Markkanen deal for a top 12 protected first round pick. It makes zero sense for him to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the other question that always comes to my mind about this situation is, let's say the deal does get done with the Warriors and, they figure out that third team and everything gets handled perfectly. Is a guy like Pod's going to be on this roster, when you're thinking about contending? Is this a deal that, pushes you closer to winning? And or is it more of a situation where, the Jazz are just simply not looking to be the ones that pay that extension for Lauri, and they would like to move him for that reason? I don't know, but what I am saying is that if this marketing deal gets done, I just hope that the value you get with these picks that you're being so steadfast on, which is fine. I don't have a problem with that. I'd be steadfast too. But if you're going to be this steadfast on the picks portion of the deal, I just hope that when you use those picks and you get those guys from the draft, that you can turn those guys into value, because I feel like we're going to be talking about a couple of years from now, a couple seasons from now, that, hey, yeah, I mean, you did trade Markkanen, you did get Pods and some other value, and it didn't really pan out, because that's kind of what I feel like the conversation with the Jazz has been. Like, hey, you've got all these draft assets and you're making some deals, but it's not quite getting you to where you want to go. And I think for the Jazz, that's going to be the crucial part. Like, this deal does need to get done, in my opinion, for the Jazz. They're just not in a place where they should be paying a guy like Lauri Markkanen that kind of money right now. That's just not where the Jazz are at. So I would agree that, yeah, I think they're going to trade him too. But I just hope that if and probably when you get this deal done, that you actually take advantage of that value that you're getting in the draft. And hopefully that can turn into something. And hopefully we can start to talk about the Jazz turning a corner, instead of just like being yet another deal where you're sort of transacting and the West is getting better and you're just kind of chilling. Because I feel like that would be, it just wouldn't be ideal. That's not what anybody wants. So hopefully they can do that.
Yeah, I think the deal gets done. After the conversations I had yesterday, I feel like the Jazz have excuse me, choking on a D.
Yeah, don't die.
Stay hard.
I feel like the Jazz have turned a corner on Lauri Markkanen. And I think that they are going to make a deal to put them in the best position to A, save money, and B, hopefully be in a spot to acquire Cooper Flagg. I think that's where they see. And it's interesting. I in all the people I speak to, I don't know that I've heard this level of excitement over the NBA draft in a good bit. Obviously, the Wemby draft was something people were excited about. This past draft, there was no enthusiasm for this past draft.
No.
Which I think was illustrated by the Bronny headline grabbing that he was able to accomplish. And I think you look at the lack of enthusiasm at NBA Summer League in Vegas, like there just wasn't buzz around guys. The way there is buzz around, I think there's a dozen starters coming in this NBA draft. I think there are at least 12 guys who could be frontline starters for NBA teams. And I think that if you are Golden State, you have to understand that the arms race has never been more spread out, that there has never been this much competition in the Steph Curry era. Is the Curry era a real thing? I think it is.
Yeah.
In this new and improved championship caliber Golden State Warrior generation, there's never been this depth of talent, especially in the Western Conference. And whether that is the Clippers continuing to spend and be aggressive, you look at what the Lakers are doing, you look at the youth and the depth now that OKC has. I mean, you look at the top of that conference, Victor Wembanyama. I think you're seeing that it's becoming more and more difficult to win the West. And then you look at the Knicks and you look at the Mikal Bridges trade, and you just look at how good this league has become and how spread across the talent is. I think Golden State recognizes that Lauri Markkanen is kind of a unicorn. It's really difficult to get a guy of that caliber to put next to a guy of Steph's caliber. And when you start to understand that Steph Curry is a top 5 guy of his generation, that he is the best shooter in the history of the NBA, I think you have to do everything you can do to extend that window. And I think that's where the Lakers and Golden State are. I don't think the Lakers give two rats ass about paying luxury tax. they don't want to pay repeater tax. They don't want to. I mean, you're not going to pay a penny more in tax than you have to.
Right.
But they're willing to do what it takes to put more rings on Steph's hand. There is no question about that. And I think the biggest question is, and if we're just keeping it real on this Lauri Markkanen thing, does Lauri Markkanen make them a championship contender?
I mean, I think he does. I think that Markkanen is somebody who, fills that role perfectly, because again, you're not asking him to be the number one. You're asking him to be, the number two, the guy that can make a difference for you in the interior. Obviously, he'll get his fair share of chances to shoot the three, but I think on that team, you're asking him to knock down his shots, because that's the thing that I think about with Steve Kerr's offense, is that he's going to get the individual player the shot that they like the most. So he's going to get Steph into the corner. He's going to get Steph on the wing. He's going to get Markkanen at the elbow. He's going to get Markkanen into a situation where he can back a guy down or get downhill on somebody. Like, he's going to do those things. So I think when we talk about them being a championship caliber team, I think the only question is, how long will it take, Markkanen to learn how to play with Steph on a nightly basis, to learn, hey, like, I'm not, obviously I'm not playing with the Jazz anymore. Like, this is what this offense looks like. We're way more up and down, or, this is just a different culture. So, I think we saw when Kyrie and Luka got together that took some time. I mean, there was growing pains with that. That was like 20, 25 games of just trying to figure it out. And I hope for the Warriors, if this deal happens, that Markkanen can figure that out a little quicker. Because if he can figure that out inside of 20 games, I mean, I do think they can compete.
I think he's an easy fit in pretty much everybody's roster. I think the bigger question for me is, can he be the guy in Golden State that he was in Utah? Or is he going to be the Chicago Bull, Cleveland Cavalier Markkanen? Because that should be a real concern. Lauri Markkanen was the focus of the offense on a team with zero expectations in Utah. And he thrives here. He thrives here because ain't nobody give a hot damn if they win or lose games.
Yeah, there's no pressure.
There has never been pressure on Lauri Markkanen to perform in Golden State.
Right.
You weren't the big draft pick you were in Chicago. You weren't the guy you traded for to get Cleveland to wherever they were trying to go. And now you're being traded because you're too good. And I wonder what he turns into in a situation like Golden State.
Well, I mean, I think if Golden State gets Utah Jazz Lauri Markkanen, I like I said, they're a playoff contender, no question about it. I mean, that's a team that, the best version of that team is I would think, you could reach, the second, third round. I don't know about the final.
But are you trading for Lauri Markkanen and giving up a Podziemski or a Kuminga? And I still, I hear pretty routinely that the Lakers just don't want to give up Kuminga.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I'm in this position where I don't see it with Jonathan Kuminga. And I watch a lot of NBA. I know I don't watch Jazz games.
Right.
But I watch a lot of NBA. And I think Jonathan Kuminga is a freak athlete. Does that translate into a top 5 guy on a championship roster? And the answer is, I don't believe that it does.
Yeah, well, I would agree that I don't think on a championship roster he starts. But the problem for the Warriors is they need him to be that. They need him to be, in their starting 5, and they need him to, and maybe
is Lauri Markkanen better than Jonathan Kuminga?
Yeah, by a lot.
I think it's not close.
Yeah, I think Lauri Markkanen's much more physical. I think he's much more wanting.
Better shooter, clearly a better shooter.
Yeah, better shooter. I do think that one thing people don't talk about Markkanen's game is his willingness to be physical with guys when he's getting to the rim. Because again, Euros in the NBA have this reputation of being soft, but Markkanen's not that guy. He's somebody who is more than happy to dunk on you, use his shoulder. Like he's fine to do all that. And I think, for Kuminga, the bonus with Markkanen, again, if this deal gets done, would be that now Kuminga's playing, the third best defender on the team, potentially the fourth best defender on the team, depending on the set you're running and the switches you get. And that's why I'm telling you, that's why I think Markkanen's such a great fit with the Warriors, because Steve Kerr understands how to draw plays up that put guys in a really strong position to be successful. And all Kuminga's got to do is either get fouled or make the shot. That's all he's going to be asked to do. Hey, get downhill, get fouled, go to the line, or if you have an open look, we need you to make that at a reasonable rate. And I just don't think it's that big of an ask for the Warriors offense to be successful with Markkanen.
Podziemski or Kuminga?
I would be keeping Kuminga.
You would be keeping Kuminga.
Yeah, I would, because I don't think Pod, projects out to be like a big time scorer. Obviously, that's not his game. His game is much more of like, again, like I say, he's a point guard, shooting guard that is really good at getting into the paint, facilitating. Like, that's kind of his game. Now, he can shoot it, obviously. He's got, he can finish a little bit. But I think if you're the Warriors looking at this, you have to make the decision on these two. And the question to me is, who has higher upside? Who do we want more of? And I think that's what's tough. I wouldn't be trading both of those guys either. I would agree that that's too much value to be given up for Markkanen.
I think I am all day, every day in on Podziemski more than I don't. I just spent a lot of time watching big tape. I don't see him as a transformational star. I think he'll be a really good 6, 7, 8 guy. I don't think on a championship team, unless he turns into something other than a freak athlete. And I know I say this a lot, but everybody in this league can dunk. It's not impressive. I am not wowed by your ability to jump and put a ball in a hoop at 10 feet. I'm not. So I look at Podziemski's numbers, and I think the thing that stands out to me most as a rookie, he averaged 26 minutes a game. He played in 74 games, and he shot 3 threes a game and shot 38.5%. That projects to a guy that can be 39, 40%, which in this league is really tough to do. Really. So he's already a really good 3-point shooter. And then I look at his turnover numbers, and he's only turning it over less than 1.5 times a game, 1.2 per game. And that the more he shoots, that total points number is going to go up. So if he gets to 12, 13, 14 points a game, and if he's diming out 5, 6, 7 times a game, now he's a really impactful player. And I think, does he ever project to be an elite on-ball defender? We'll see. I don't know. I mean, 6'4", 205. So he's got a bit of a frame.
Yeah.
I think he does. I think he can be. I think everything that he does, he can do it better. He needs development, which is always terrifying when you talk about the Jazz. They don't develop anybody or haven't. That's the guy I want. If I'm Utah, I am taking Podziemski, 3 first-round picks and a couple of pick swaps, and I'm making that happen. And I think that's where Danny Ainge is. I think all this Kuminga bullshit is just a smokescreen. I don't think that the Jazz, at least not from what I've been told. And again, I know that, LaRogaine is my source, but I am a firm believer that the Jazz have never said, well, we got to get Kuminga or nothing, which that never happened.
Yeah.
I think they want Brandin Podziemski and 3 first-round picks for Lauri Markkanen. And I think Golden State's going to make that happen. And that's why I think I'm at 80%. Now, I could be totally wrong, because I'm telling you, people I talk to, and a lot of them are adamant that the Jazz want Jonathan Kuminga. And the last time I talked to my Jazz guy, I believe was last Thursday, and he said Podziemski's the guy we're after. He projects. And the Jazz love that term. Yeah. He projects. They like that Podziemski projects to a starting point guard. I would remind you what the GM said about, Danny Ainge, not LeBron. What Danny Ainge said about Keontae George. He's not a number 1. But everybody, I think, misconstrued what Ainge said about Keontae and what he said about LaGeorge, in that I think people thought that Danny Ainge meant, well, we're going to get rid of Keontae George. I think the Jazz, from what I understand and what I'm told, see him as their number 2. And if you put Podziemski next to LaGeorge, LaPods, next to LaKey, I think you're looking at a really dynamic backcourt. Now, can they stop your mom and her cousin? Probably not.
Yeah, not with La Walker on the bench.
But we're going La Walker.
Yeah, Walker Kessler.
Never heard of him. My point is, I think La Kessler. I think you're in a position here where the Jazz see that Podziemski can be their number 1 guy. He can be a guy for them. And Keontae, I think the one thing the Jazz got out of Summer League, I still maintain, is that when you saw him in La Salt Lake playing in La Summer League, that it's going to be all show. I'm just telling you. When you saw Keontae George at Summer League, especially in Salt Lake, the quality of the jump shot he made, the difficulty of the jump shots he made, he dominated the competition. Now, what did Lamonti say about Summer League? Everybody can dunk. Everybody can dunk. Everybody. Well, here's the problem with that. How did the other Jazz young guys look? Not stellar. We didn't see a whole lot of quality shooting. We didn't see Cody Williams, phenomenal athlete. Breaking news: everybody in the NBA can dunk. Like everybody can jump in this league.
Well, in the problem I have is that, for the Jazz, like, cool, Cody Williams projects to be an all-star with a low shooting percentage and a great athlete. All right, cool, man. Pods projects to be this, the projects thing, I would agree is like this. It has, cool tech term written all over it. Hey, well, the stats saying he projects to be an all-star in like 10 years. So we're gonna trade for him now. Like, cool, man, but you guys don't develop anybody. So again, I'm sitting here as we're talking about this potential trade, and I'm like, cool, like if they get this trade done, awesome. But it also is yet another step, in the wrong direction. Again, a lot of Jazz fans.
When you say wrong direction, what does that mean?
Well, a lot of people felt like Markkanen was someone that the Jazz could build around. Someone that you could potentially put a playoff contender, not an NBA Finals caliber team, but a playoff contender. You could build that around Markkanen. And I kind of agree with that. But at the same time, I just think that the Jazz are not prioritizing winning right now. They're prioritizing saving money, and they will tell you prioritizing development, but I don't see much development happening. That's the problem. So again, when we are talking about Danny Ainge saying that Keontae isn't a number 1, maybe he should have specified that, we view him as a 2 guard, not a point guard. We want him to develop into more of a shooting, scoring guard rather than a facilitator.
I think if you look at his history, Lauri Markkanen, does anybody remember what Lauri Markkanen was dealt to Cleveland for? What if I told you?
Oh boy.
Lamarkkanen was traded to Cleveland. Larry Nance to Portland, Derrick Jones Jr. to Chicago. Like, how does that, how do you feel about that? Like, that tells me something, right? Like, okay, that was not the Lauri Markkanen that we saw. So now you say, okay, well, what did the Cavs get for Lauri Markkanen? Ochai Agbaji. Colin Sexton goes out with Lauri, right? And you ask yourself, is Donovan Mitchell is he a better player than Lauri Markkanen? I think he is. At the top end, is Donovan Mitchell a better player than Lauri Markkanen?
Yeah.
Because now I do think this fucking matters. You're going to trade Lauri Markkanen for a young guy. Whether that's to San Antonio for Keldon Johnson, that's not happening. To Keldon Johnson's not, and I know Spurs fans are like, oh, Keldon Johnson's all world.
No, like Keldon's amazing.
He didn't start for you, and his stats backslid last year, but that's just me. Or let's say you get Podziemski. Let's say you get Kuminga. Did you waste Donovan Mitchell? Well, if you're looking through the lens of saving money, no, you didn't waste Donovan Mitchell because he signed another huge extension, and you don't have to pay Lauri Markkanen. So for all the Jazz haters who are pissed off that I keep saying, hey, your paper billionaire isn't paying guys.
Yeah.
Let this trade be a cautionary tale of a guy who is not a liquid billionaire saving money so he can afford his hockey team and to pay the coach at BYU. Just sliding it, look Cougars. Anyway, the point is, you look at what the Jazz got for Donovan Mitchell, and it's essentially all gone. Because Colin Sexton's not going to be here.
Yeah.
Lauri Markkanen at that point wouldn't be here. And you gave up Ochai. Okay. Right? Who cares? Guy hasn't turned in anything. Okay, great. Donovan Mitchell, in my opinion, can be the second best player on a championship team. And what you're telling me is Lauri Markkanen is not. And you're hoping that Podziemski and Lackey turn into something. Because that's really what this is about. Because I think a lot of people forget that here on the Lamorty show that you got to look at what happened with Rudy and Don. Because if you trade Walker Kessler, was the Rudy trade worth it?
No. Again, none of these trades are going to be worth it unless you develop the draft assets. Because that's what it is. That's the selling point. Like, Pods is a first perfectly fine player. You're not doing this deal for Pods, right? Like, yeah, you may get him, but that's not why you're doing the deal. You're doing the deal because you don't want to pay Markkanen, and you're trying to get more draft assets out of this deal, just like every other deal.
All right. Settle down. What do you ultimately think happens?
They'll trade him.
And they'll get what?
They'll get what you said they'll get. They'll get Pods, 3 firsts, and a swap or something like that. A little additional.
I'm curious the quality of the draft pick that comes back.
Yeah. And I agree to your point that you've been saying for weeks now. Andrew Wiggins has to be off the Warriors roster if this happens. That's just a prerequisite.
Totally agree. All right, let's get your thoughts in here on the Lamorty show. Or is it Lamarty show?
Lamarty's probably better.
I mean, you're the LeBron hater, so how do you want to use?
I'm,
sucks.
Jakey Bayless. I know.
Jakey Bayless.
Yeah. I'm on that quote skip juice today apparently. So
Do you disagree?
Yes, I do disagree. Yes, I do. Yeah.
So you're not a hater?
No, I'm not. I wasn't hating this morning. I wasn't at all.
This morning, like you say that like it's some badge of fucking honor. You hate every day. You hate on something or some. Wow. What about La President? What about what about LaDonnie?
What about La Fingernail Painter in Chicago?
God, what?
My bad.
Why do you even do that? Why?
Well,
why?
You're stirring the pot. You want me to hate? Okay, I'll hate. It's fine. It's fine.
I'm in a space finally where the Chicago Bears have a quarterback of note. He is clearly the best quarterback Le Bears have ever had, right?
Right.
Because Le Bears never have quarterbacks.
Right.
So La Fingernail Painter is the guy that is finally, and then you've got to be La Cocksucker and come in here and be like, oh, wow. You know what
that's like these days?
I'm going to punch you in the face.
Well,
La face. I'm going to punch you in the La face.
I get it, dude. I get it.
It's my quarterback.
Whatever. All you need to do is download the La Prize Picks app and use the promo code Monty, M-O-N-T-Y Monty. Another really shitty loss last night. And listen, I'm just going to pull this up and I'm going to ask you to mourn with me because dollars are not easy to win.
Right.
But god damn, they are easy to lose. And I just want, listen, I want people to understand that as a man, Jake Cronenworth has a really small penis. This was
Stay hard.
This was established by the fact that I was like, there's no way that Manny Machado is going to have a game tonight. It's Tuesday night in the baseball season, and it's July. Manny Machado ain't showing up.
Oh yeah, well, 4 for 4,
2
4
for
home
3
runs.
with a run. So naturally, I said, well, Jake Cronenworth, the Great White Hope,
The Great White Hope.
is going to come through for a mother.
Right.
0 for 3. Not a single base, you prick. Okay, so Monty's rule of, or I'm sorry, Lamani's rule about playing 3 guys in a flex is fine. Because of course, we all know that, LaSteroid, or I'm sorry, Aaron Judge, he's going to come through big for Lamarty, right? Aaron Judge, you swing the bat. Bro, you walked 4 fucking, you walked 4 times. You can't step balls an inch off the outside, right? You just can't drive that ball out of the yard to right field against against the Mets, right? So you take an 0 for 1 with 4 walks.
We show up.
Fucking asshole. And then just because Marty's a Cub fan.
Right.
And we know factually that the Cubs, they're in it to lose it. So we all know that Seiya Suzuki is the hero that we need. Just all I need you to do, my friend, is 2.5 total bases.
Right.
That all I need is 2.5 total bases. And you got me 1 total base.
No.
0 for 3 last night.
Damn.
And I just feel like I took that personally. Right? Because that's ended my hot streak. My golf hot streak. I won $200 over the weekend playing golf.
A lot.
Yeah. Like I was stroking dudes over the weekend.
Yeah, dude.
I was stroking dudes over the weekend.
Honestly,
on Prize Picks.
Stroking guys.
And I just cannot tell you how much LaShoffley came through for me. And then Jake Cronenworth is that guy that you can count on. Right? Anyway, download the Prize Picks app. Use the promo code Monty.
You ought to know you bought it.
Man, yesterday sucked out loud.
Yeah.
But, today's a new day to lose money on Prize Picks.
That's right.
I'm actually, I was yesterday, I kind of got crazy. I lost $50 on Prize Picks yesterday because I was feeling myself a little bit, as I do when I'm alone in a dark room. And so I put up $50 yesterday. So I am all the way down to, after that debacle, I am all the way down to $690. I got some bread in the Prize Picks account because I win. Let's see. Mike Smith says Morty is gambling away Jackie Two-Hole's inheritance. He ain't getting nothing.
Yeah.
He ain't getting nothing.
Yeah.
UW fan Jim Romadunze, don't worry, Morty. Jim Romadunze will make Williams look like Joe Montana. Yeah, unfortunately, your boy Adunze dropped a red zone touchdown yesterday.
Yeah, nice job, Slick.
Jerk. I'm a bad person. You don't have to tell me that. I already know. Kuninga?
Who the hell is Kuninga?
Ain't never heard of that dude. Is going to need extended. Pods is still a few years away from his next level. I don't think Danny wants to trade Lauri for another dude that's going to need cash. Well, I think you make or break on him.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see. Big Blue Horses. Del Taco named #1 fast food beating Chick-fil-A because Del Taco is life.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, Del Taco is so horribly underrated. And I'm tired of people disrespecting La Taco Del in such a fashion.
Right.
Enema King. Don't believe that's the pronunciation, but we're going with it. I'm watching as a Warriors fan. We won't trade pods. There's no point. Lauri is not Kevin Durant. Who is Kevin Durant?
What are you talking about, bro?
You're right. He's not a broken down old man who can't keep his calves healthy. You're exactly right about that. I actually love KD.
My fucking ass.
I think Kevin Durant. Who else is Kevin Durant in this league?
The Warriors had Kevin when he was still in his prime, man.
And then they overworked him, and he wound up blowing out his Achilles.
So, like, you're not. I just think, with all due respect, that's not a great take.
Yeah, and listen, more enemas will probably help you think clearly.
Yeah.
Projected talent only.
Yeah.
Ryan Smith's receding hairline. Thank you for showing up today.
Yeah, dude.
Because
we show up.
Thank you. San Diego State Glenn, La Yeti is the priority. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Enema King. My point was, for the Jazz, Kuminga is more valuable than Pods because you can use it to trade him and probably get 3 more first-round picks, but you're not going to do that.
And how long are you just going to keep trading for picks?
They're not, in my opinion. The Jazz are in selling season on multiple fronts. You're selling your biggest contracts, and you're selling your fans a line of bullshit, frankly, that you're trying to build to win, and they're tanking for Cooper Flag. I think they're trying to win as few games as possible.
Yeah.
I think you are going to see that guys like Hendricks and Williams, they're going to play a lot. And maybe that's what you need, right? I mean, who are you, Bronny James? You need a lot of minutes.
Yeah.
And I think that one of the things that's terrifying is you're watching these young guys really struggle for the Jazz, because this club has historically and now in current day not been a developmental organization.
And I wouldn't have any problem if you fully embrace sucking. Like, if you're like, my issue has always been that you haven't chosen your path. You haven't fully embraced the path, which is, hey, we need to win as few games as possible.
Yes.
And go out and get Flag and play these guys a ton of minutes.
Because I think
that's what you should be doing.
I think your fan base would embrace that. I think your fan base would say, hey, you know what? We're trying to get Cooper Flag, and I'm fine with it. I think your fan base would embrace that. I truly do.
Yeah.
They'll never say that. Ryan Smith's receding hairline. Lamarty, saving money is all that matters.
Well,
exactly.
Making any changes.
Noel Ramirez. Good morning, Jack and Marty. Good morning, Niall. Good to see you. Ramarars. I don't
Ramirez.
Yeah, see, like, your last name needs to be Martinez, so I can be like Martinez or how do you mispronounce Ramirez? Right? You don't. And UCF is going to be problematic this year, I'm telling you.
They're going to be good.
Ryan Smith says we need more draft assets for LaDanny to waste on Garba.
Okay, LaDanny is actually funny as hell.
That's awesome. Marty is Monty's evil twin. Truth. Hey, by the way, James, I thought about you this morning in the shower.
Whoa.
While I was,
Stay hard.
It's fine. Did you guys see that? What?
LaDanny.
Gunnar Gundy.
So good, dude.
Gunnar Gundy is the starting quarterback for a D7. He's not on. What? You're the coach's kid. What happened? Couldn't live up to it. Couldn't live up to it. Tackle taken slowly. Pickford. Wow,
bro.
Will Sexton, Clarkson, and Collins get traded if Lauri goes? I think John Collins. They've tried to trade John Collins. I think he's going to have to be a deadline deal. I think that.
But are they open to doing deadline deals? Because I think that's the other thing for the Jazz. They haven't historically been aggressive there.
The word that was used to me on John Collins is pivot. The John Collins trade was a mistake. And they have They were going in the right direction, and now they've pivoted away from that. And I think that Sexton, at least earlier in the summer, was in demand. I think they could have traded Colin. There's no doubt about that. And I think John Collins is a guy that you can move at the deadline.
Mm-hmm.
So John Collins, you can't have Kessler and Collins on the roster together. Will Hardy, I don't think, LaBust coach, I don't think he has the ability to play both of them at the same time.
Right.
He has not figured that out yet. And I think it's because they don't want John Collins to be a perimeter player. They want him in the paint, rebounding, which I get, but Walker Kessler's a rim runner. That's what the guy is. And his highest best use is, hey, there's that rim. Now go ahead and run to that rim and then run back to that rim, block a shot, and then run back to that rim.
Yeah.
That's his highest best use right now. So Willie Wilson, man, you were a hell of an outfielder, by the way, before that cocaine habit happened. Trade marketing into the Mavericks, my wish list. Yeah. I don't think so. OG Gary, in fairness, Lamani, Bron did it to himself, so he deserves it.
Deserves
it. Okay. Like I said, no Lamarty without Jake.
That's right.
Yeah. You know. MAGA boy, they have a queen for a QB in Chicago. Okay, well, thanks for being a hater and telling us how much of a shitbag you are.
I actually think, all jokes aside, I actually do think the Bears are going to be much better this year.
They're in a really good position.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gay bashing aside from MAGA boy.
Yeah.
Way to be on brand.
Yeah.
I think you look at the position the Bears are in. We got to talk NFL this week because every team is pretty much in training camp now.
So good to have it back, dude.
If Dallas doesn't trade CeeDee Lamb before the season, I will be disappointed. Big Blue Horses, SLC gets the Olympics. Rose Bowl wants to stay on January 1st. Scenes. The Rose Bowl. Let's talk about the Rose Bowl real quick.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Rose Bowl real quick. Do you care? I'm trying to understand this. Why is the Rose Bowl special and unique?
Okay, so for their time slot and their day, I think for that particular game, a bowl game, or a college football playoff game, like a bowl game that affects the college football playoff or an actual CFP game, I think the Rose Bowl is a great venue. I think that there's a lot of allure or like there's a lot of ambiance, if you will, around being in LA and like having it be a West Coast game. Because if you think about it, like most of the college football playoff games to this point have been towards the East Coast. If you think about it, right? Like you've got, obviously the SEC, a lot of dome games. Like
the biggest games are in the Eastern time zone.
Yeah,
no question.
And I think that for the college football playoff, there is some value in that first round of the college football playoff potentially expanding out to the West Coast. And is the Rose Bowl like this amazing venue that we need like 10 games a year at? No, it's not.
Absolutely not.
I think one game and their proposition is essentially, hey, we just want to stay in the same time slot, which is 5 Eastern, I believe, 2 Pacific.
5 Eastern. They believe the Rose Bowl has proposed that they play on January 1st at 5 Eastern every year for the next 5 years, and that they are a college football playoff game.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, you're not that special anymore. And you're only special because you've been around for 100+ years. You're trying to dictate terms. And I understand that in the parlance of the Big Ten versus the Pac-8, Pac-12, hey, that's great. Charles Woodson chewing on a rose. Yes. That's not the ultimate prize anymore in the Big Ten. If you go to the Rose Bowl because you're not going to the college football playoff, I agree that diminishes the importance of the Rose Bowl. So if I'm the Rose Bowl, I'm asking for a college football playoff bowl designation every year. But what have they done to earn that? That stadium has not been renovated, and it sucks. I can only say it so many different ways, and I know this is a sacrilege. If you've never been to the Rose Bowl, you're not missing much. It is good one day a year. And that's only from kickoff to the final whistle, because trying to get out of the Rose Bowl or trying to get into the Rose Bowl is a nightmare. It's in a neighborhood. Parking's a nightmare. You cannot Uber in and out of there. I'm telling you, it is not.
Yeah.
It is not great. The stadium is not comfortable. The seats suck. The views are awesome. I agree with that. Oh, the sunset, Morty. I totally agree. The Rose Bowl is overrated.
Yeah.
And I until they renovate that stadium, and until at least they have a plan with funding to back it up. Who are you, the Oakland A's? With funding to back it up, I would not designate them a bowl game for 5 straight years, because that stadium is
Well, and if you're
it's not good.
You're the CFP and you're looking for West Coast locations. I mean,
the
obviously,
CFP is the college football playoff.
Stay hard.
Just trying to help the guys out.
Wouldn't SoFi be a better option than the Rose Bowl if you were looking for a different location, or if you were trying to, prioritize a West Coast time slotted game? Obviously, SoFi would be what you'd be looking for.
Premier entertainment venue in the world of football.
I don't think that Levi Stadium in Santa Clara is as good of option as SoFi is. And I think that if you're the Rose Bowl, you're sitting here, I would agree, with an old venue that desperately needs a renovation that it's not going to get. And you are trying to leverage the college football playoff committee to work with you. And I'm not sure that that's going to happen.
I would agree. I would agree with that. I just don't. Yeah,
But again,
and I want to make this clear.
Yeah.
Let's shut up. I want to make this clear. Let's zip it.
Yeah.
The game itself, while the game is going on, it's usually they like it at 3:00, because think about it. It is January, Los Angeles, Pasadena. Well, idiot, it's Pasadena. Shut up. It's 3:00, Los Angeles in January. The sun is going to set. You are going to get a second half that's going to have a beautiful, usually orange and red sky. It's gorgeous. The venue itself at dusk with a big game on the field, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
But then you got to go outside the stadium and you're like, damn, dude, could have watched this on my couch with a bunch of wings. Because it is not a good fan experience outside of the football game.
Right.
It just is. And if you've been there, I don't know how many people here have been there, but when you've been to a Rose Bowl game, you understand strictly average. Strictly average. The pageantry, the parade, the Rose Parade's kind of cool. The Rose Bowl, their highest best use right now is the flea market that they have there on the regular. I'm not joking. I will never go to another non-Rose Bowl event until they renovate that place. I'm not doing it. I'm not going to the fucking parade. I'm not going to the flea market. I'm not doing it. Because that place is genuinely a nightmare to get to and get out of. I mean, you're walking miles, and it's it's always poorly signed. Oh, I've probably been to a dozen UCLA games. I used to work at their flagship station. I've probably been to a dozen UCLA games. I've been to 2 or 3 soccer matches there. It's a nightmare. It is a nightmare. Roche, hello. Oh, yes, 3 p.m. in LA, nothing like 2 hours of freeway to go 6 miles. But here's the other thing. They want it to, it's a party. It's not a party. Even tailgating at the Rose Bowl blows nuts. Like, it's just not, the whole thing's not great. And it's not like it's like Fenway the other day. I was talking about Fenway Park.
Yeah.
I can go get the world's best Italian sausage, like a 35-second walk from the gate.
Where's the Italian?
There's nothing you're going to get. It's in a neighborhood. The Rose Bowl is in a neighborhood. It's up at the top of a hill. They hate that you're there. You park in their yard. You piss in their yard. They don't want you there.
Right.
You're surrounded by multi-million-dollar homes, and the owners are snooty, snobby old people who don't give two shits about your football team.
Yeah.
They don't want you there. You don't want to be there until the game starts, and then once the game ends, yeah, I'm just not, Rose Bowl flea market greater than UCLA football? Absolutely right. Absolutely right. All right, let's see. Mike Smith, have some good games, both college and NFL. Have had. Well, right, but that's my point. When it's the Super Bowl, okay, you're willing to deal with the BS. When it's a playoff game, you're willing to deal with the BS.
Yeah.
But why subject your fans to that? Because every year fans complain about it. I agree. Put it at SoFi. It's Levi Stadium sucks.
Yeah.
Breaking news: Levi Stadium is terrible.
Yeah.
The playing surface, terrible. Terrible. The stadium itself is so poorly positioned on the ground that the one side of the stadium, you can't, if you're in the upper bowl at Levi Stadium for a late day kickoff, you're fucked. The sun is so abusive, you can't watch the game. I don't know how many people realize that. Check it out this year in Santa Clara where the 49ers play. For a home game kickoff that's 1 o'clock, dude, you're done. Because that sun is just eating you.
Yeah.
Technology-wise, fantastic. Entertainment, food, great. Anything else, the playing surface, terrible. They won't play soccer on it anymore. Football is a playing surface. They've never been able to figure it out. It is what it is, right? Taylor Smith, I was part of a cheer team for the Utes Rose Bowl. We were on the bus for hours trying to get out.
Yeah.
It's exactly right, Taylor, because you know. OG Gary, I think it's nostalgia for the Rose Bowl. Growing up, it's been my favorite bowl game because of those memorable games. And if you're a Utah fan, it truly was the pinnacle. Now, unfortunately, you lost both games. The Ohio State game, I think, was particularly amazing. Unfortunately, you lost both games. But the uniqueness of getting to the Rose Bowl was incredible. The only now, if you want to go back to the Rose Bowl, you better hope it's a championship game. Right? Because I just don't see, if they don't get the designation from the college football playoff, how does the Rose Bowl remain the granddaddy of them all?
Yeah, I don't know that they can.
Because the Pac-12 went away.
Yeah.
It'll be very interesting to see how that plays out. I've never been to the stadium, so I'll take your word for it. Dude, it's rough. Oh, look, do we read a Ferris Khan comment?
You're
Michigan
taking your life in your hands. Dude.
Michigan picked either 4th or 5th by the media in the Big Ten. When I went to the Rose Bowl on January 1st, I was not impressed when I first got there. However, the actual experience was amazing with a 50-50 Michigan-Alabama crowd. And I love being at a big football game of consequence. Nothing like it. Nothing like it. The Rose Bowl has become a reason to have a parade, not a football game. I don't even disagree with that. James, the Rose Bowl is a first or second round playoff game. SoFi Stadium is for the championship game. That could be. That could be. Willie Wilson, that Rose Bowl atmosphere is second to none, and it comes into the living room surrounded by friends and family. Yeah, and if you're watching on TV, I totally agree with that.
Yeah, well, and I think
totally agree with
the
that.
debate just generally, whether it's the Rose Bowl or otherwise, of, hey, at-home experience with football or going to the game is still, it's just I would so much rather be at home watching a football game. You can see so much more. You've got the comfort of your own home. You've got better food that's cheaper. Like, it's tough to beat, man.
Mike Smith, Mountain Mama, take me home. Morty will be calling Delta later in order to arrange trips to LA so he can visit the Rose Bowl flea market this weekend. Oops, I mean Pasadena. Exactly. You flying into Burbank there, Morty? UW fan Jim, UCLA with their full share should be able to renovate the place. Exactly. The Buffalo Hunter, hello. The Rose Bowl would be better with an upper deck, right, James? Yes. Yes. Willie Wilson. I have Rose Bowl memories going back to 1966. I look forward to the game every year. Okay. San Diego State Glenn. Until recently, didn't the Rose Bowl have the largest payout of all the other bowl games? I couldn't tell you that. I don't know. Amy S. Hello. The Rose Bowl seats need replacing. Concession areas need widening so you can actually walk to your seat before the game. But game experience was great, right? Everything in the bowl, in the seating area, is great. Try taking a leak at the Rose Bowl. And I think her point about the concourse is exactly right. It's just old. It's an old building.
Yeah.
It's antiquated. Oak State James, the stadium guru. No upper deck on Rose Bowl. UCLA can't sell out the Rose Bowl. They need to do what FSU is doing, remove benches and put in real chair back seats. Drop capacity is 70,000. You're not lowering. No, I'm not doing it. They don't play.
Marty.
UCLA football just happens to play at the Rose Bowl. The Rose Bowl is played at the Rose Bowl. It's that one game. You're not lowering capacity. Man, do you guys remember when this place used to have 100,000?
Yeah, what an atmosphere it was back then. It's just not quite the same now,
You're not lowering the seating capacity at the Rose Bowl.
Good thing I got this way overpriced hot dog and soda from the concessions that suck.
Taylor Smith, which game has roller hot dogs? James, please chime in.
Yeah.
Now, LaJake, who is the expert on eating hot dogs off a roller.
That's bullshit.
Yeah, well, there is bullshit on there. The fecal matters, I think, tops off the flavoring.
Right.
Real quick, you guys. Paul Feinbaum, is Paul Feinbaum relevant? Is he not turning into Skip Bayless? How many coaches is he going to call for to be fired this week? So you may have seen this. Paul Feinbaum says that Prime is leaving Colorado to go and replace Lincoln Riley at USC.
Yeah.
So what is he really saying? Lincoln Riley's going to be fired.
Right.
Then he said that Ryan Day, if he loses to Michigan again, should be fired. All this guy does is talk about coaches and how he thinks they should be fired. First of all, if Ryan Day loses a game this year, he should be fired, Michigan or otherwise. Saying that Ryan Day should be fired if he can't beat Michigan, bro, that's like saying that your plant's going to die if you don't water it. That's obvious. He has not been able to, in recent years, beat Michigan. Ryan Day shouldn't be fired because he can't beat Michigan. He should be fired because he doesn't win, period. His big game record is not great. His regular season, and this is the ultimate issue. Who's a better regular season coach than Ryan Day? Well, Mike Gundy. Right? Like, they're the same guy. It's the same thing. Ryan Day has not proven to be the guy that'll get you over the top and win championships.
Okay. I don't disagree that he's not a championship caliber head coach, a national championship.
Not yet, he isn't.
He's not with Saban and Kirby and those guys. But here's the difference between Ryan Day and Mike Gundy. With all due respect to Mike Gundy, Oklahoma State hasn't sniffed the college football playoff ever. Ryan Day is in that conversation every year. The problem is that Ohio State fan is spoiled as hell, and they're upset that they can't beat Michigan on a regular basis. And so we get into this conversation, and it feels like Ryan Day never seemingly wins the big game, which with Michigan, he hasn't. Paul's not wrong about that. You've lost 3 in a row. You lose again this year, that'd be 4 in a row. That's a pretty rough stretch. However, let's not forget what Ryan Day has done for the program. First of all, This guy wins at one of the highest clips that we've ever seen in college football.
In 5 full years, who wants to guess how many games he's lost in the Big Ten? 3.
Oh, that's right. But because all 3 of those were to Michigan, we got a problem.
Who wants to guess in 5 full seasons as the head coach how many games he's lost in total? How about 8? He's 56 and fucking 8. He is 39-3. But when you go 2-3 and you are a guy, and listen, I think that Ryan Day is somebody that I think we all want to win more. And I think that him getting boat raced by Alabama was not good, right? And when you look at his curb stomping of Clemson, which is great, but he didn't ultimately win. The Rose Bowl win in 2021, followed by, and I think this past season was the egregious one. When you can't score a touchdown against Missouri, and the late, great Pootie supporting guy that used to be on this show would tell you that Missouri was amazing, and I don't disagree that they were a very good team, but you're Ohio State, dude.
Here's the thing, though, and this is what I tried to explain to people last year. Kyle McCord was a liability, and that was Ryan Day's biggest problem.
And I think Kyle McCord got a lot of support because of his numbers. His numbers were helped by, I think, some of the best wide receivers in college football.
Yeah.
I think the one thing that you can hang on to today, and what is it, July 24th, is we're a week or so away. One thing you can hang on to is this is the most talented roster in Ryan Day's history.
Yeah.
And arguably, I think Georgia's the best team in football. But I think Ohio State is going to win the national championship because they're in the Big Ten. They don't have the meat grinder that the SEC has. Now, obviously, they're going to have to win some tough games.
Yeah.
But if you look at what he's got now, the excuses are gone. I mean, the media picked Michigan to be 4th or 5th in this league. You are going to live and die at Michigan on defensive tackles. And I think that if you are the Ohio State and you do not go to Oregon on October 12th and win, you're in trouble. Because I think Ryan Day has a very short leash. And I think that there's a lot of people at Big Ten Media Day talking about Chip Kelly being at Ohio State. If you do not score 30 points a game, you're going to be in trouble. If you do not win at Autzen, you're going to be in trouble. And the bigger question I have is, what Nebraska team shows up at the shoe? Because I think Nebraska is going to be a much, much better football team.
Yeah, I think what you're going to see with Ohio State this year is you're going to get an offense that defenses can't keep up with. And the only question is going to be whether Ohio State can keep people in check on the defensive side. If Ohio State plays reasonable defense, I really believe that they will be, undefeated, one-loss team, college football playoff bound, national championship caliber good. Because you've got Will Howard, you've got wide receiver play, you've got O-line play. Like,
I'm not convinced they have that Ohio State has wide receiver play this year. You've got a guy But you do not have, and this is your argument on Kyle sucks.
Yeah.
You had all-time great wide receivers, in my opinion. And now I think I look at this depth chart. Is this not a run second offense? Like, if you look at Igbukah, it's a world-class talent, right? And he's a guy that's waited his turn. I think that's great. But you don't know what Carnell Tate or Jeremiah Smith, that's a freshman. You don't know. But what you do know is Travion Henderson has got to be fucking healthy. If he's healthy, this offense is dynamic and lethal. Because the only way that you get top end out of, and I think it's Will Howard's job, that's my opinion. The only way you're getting the best out of Will Howard is if Travion Henderson is that dude.
Yeah.
And granted, Quinshon Judkins, I don't know how you pulled that, but you did. I think that's huge. But you also got to remember that you're leaning on Seth McLaughlin to be your center. And that did not end well for Alabama. So let's see what you can do. You've got one of the best offensive minds in the history of college football in Chip Kelly.
Which I think means a lot. I think you're going to see the benefits of that.
You added Caleb Downs to a secondary that's already stupid good. You added him to Ransom and, that dude, stop. This defense is unbelievable.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's cool if Feinbaum wants to say he's going to lose his job and that's fine, dude. If that's the take you want to have. But what I'm telling you is that I don't think they're going to have a bad season. I haven't lost the belief that Ryan Day can put together a national championship caliber team. I don't like, if Ryan Day was in the Dabo territory where he wasn't a portal guy and he wasn't in the new age, then I'd be like, okay, cool. Yeah, probably got to move on. But that's not who Ryan Day is. Ryan Day is someone who embraces the new age and uses NIL and uses the portal and, just does a good job.
What was that? Did you just throw up in your mouth? I told you that fecal matter was coming back to get you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand that now? This is where the hot dog off the roller comes back to get you.
Changes.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. You hate when I point that out, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Ferris Khan, Honda McCord will become Acura McCord in Syracuse. He will be Drake May light racking up right.
He'll never be an NFL starter. He'll be a bench guy at most.
Dude that abides, Michigan fan here. Oh boy. Who's willing and better replacement for Ryan Day? But isn't that the point? The conversation?
Yeah, okay, let's move on from Ryan Day. Okay,
well, the obvious choice is probably Chip Kelly.
Come on. Chip Kelly doesn't have anything on Ryan Day. Come on.
This is the entire conversation. So hot take Feinbaum guy can sit here and talk about beating Michigan. Ohio State is far beyond beating Michigan this year. You better beat Oregon. You better beat Nebraska. You better beat Penn State. Then worry about Michigan. That game's at the Shoe this year. Then worry about Michigan. Right? You have a guy in Will Howard who was, without question, the number one arm in the portal this year. And I love all the Michigan fans that are like, oh, he lost his job. He got run out of Manhattan. No, he didn't. No, he did not. And I think Ryan Day did something with this roster that I don't think we've ever seen this kind of transformation.
Look at this. This is literally what you said. Look at Ferris Khan's comment right there, below the one you're on right now. Look at this comment right here. Look at
Will Howard was about to be benched by Case. He was not about to be benched by Case.
I would rather have year 2 of McCord as a starter.
Well, as a Michigan fan, I'm sure you would.
What a dumb comment, dude. Literally, what a dumb comment that is.
See, we read your comments. You start saying smart things. And then you say shit like you'd rather have year 2 of college.
Have a nice day.
Why don't you in Ann Arbor worry about how you're going to replace free Harbaugh and, actually have an offense and how you're going to replace that offensive line and how you're going to replace like fucking everybody on that team? Go worry about that instead of making stupid comments about Ohio State, because that's a stupid comment. James, Kelly plus a really good running quarterback in Will Howard. This is a match made in heaven.
Hey, he's dual threat, no question about it.
Yep. Matt Ritson, Rose Bowl takes winner Pac-2 versus lower tier Big Ten team for New Year's Day. Disaster. The Rose Bowl would become insignificant, in my opinion. UW fan Jim, Ducks are loaded. I wouldn't bet against them at home versus anyone this year, dude.
Yeah, and them putting huge inflatable ducks on the river. Yeah, that was a really good start to the year.
Did
dude.
you guys?
Really good start to the year, bro. Thank you.
I want to like that asshole. I do. But Dan Lanning is just an asshole. Like Dan Lanning is a really good football coach. And I like the style of play that Dan Lanning runs, but dude, you're just an asshole.
Yeah, I thought you weren't playing for clicks, dude.
It makes me crazy that Dan Lanning
Quack. Quack.
Like
Quack. 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 Quack.
No.
Quack.
No.
Quack.
No.
Quack.
No. No.
Quack. No.
Man, wow, dude.
Nobody likes you. Nobody likes you. They're not like, dude, Dan Lanning should be like one of the most likable coaches in college football.
And seemingly every year, even last year with the prime stuff, I began to like Dan Lanning. I admittedly was a little disappointed they lost to Washington. I was like, yeah, dude, that would have been a nice story. But when I see stuff like this, I'm like, man, you are a red ass, bro. You are a red ass about everything.
You're just a jagoff. Like, nobody likes you, Dan. Okay. Now, if you wouldn't mind coaching Notre Dame, that'd be great. But please don't float a big golden dome in the White River. That's the White River. You guys, that's the White River. That's the river in fucking Indianapolis. You're new here, dick. Like, no, like, what are you doing? Just come in and be like, oh, hey, Dan Lanning. I don't know if you remember me. I'm Dan Lanning from Oregon. Nice to meet you. Hey, we're really thrilled to be here. Did you notice the duck we put in the river? Dan.
Dude.
La Dick.
Yeah.
Did anybody notice?
Like LaDan.
That's
Come on,
so,
bro.
I hated that so much.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
Cruel and unusual punishment, forcing you to watch that video. Yes. First team all rubber duck. Exactly. That's mad cringe. Yes, it is. I would Willie Wilson. I would say fire Paul Feinbaum, but who will replace his foolishness with? Man, not to belabor this point. I was watching Pat. I used to, I think you, for any of the long times on this show.
Keep it real.
I used to watch Pat every day and I loved it. I looked forward to it.
It was good. It was good.
I've watched it twice in the last month and it's terrible. It is worse than my golf swing. It is
Fucking A.
really, it's unwatchable. I don't understand what happened to that show.
Yeah, what happened is it's not football season.
Well, it is football. Like their CeeDee Lamb conversation yesterday. I think
So what was bad about it? What was like?
They're yelling at each other. There's no flow to the conversation anymore. It used to be Pat would talk and then there'd be like almost a choreographed,
They have that panel of dudes, basically.
and they're technical cutting to the wrong camera. Or like the microphone thing on that show has always been kind of a thing. Not being able to hear what one guy's like, yeah, dude. Let Pat talk football, you cock.
Yeah.
Like, if you're on that show and you interrupt Pat McAfee, you should be Ryan Dade. Like, you should be fired.
Right.
I used to love that show. And now it's unwatchable. Jim Rome is far more watchable these days. I don't know if it's because he's old, but Jim Rome is far more watchable these days.
That's right.
It's so frustrating to me. Mike Smith, that quack, quack, quack thing was so lame.
Yeah, terrible, dude. Terrible.
Are you guys mad that Dan Lanning had the audacity to criticize Prime? Not at all. See, and that's the other thing. It's kind of like Kamala Harris being called the border czar.
Right.
Anyway, La Kamala being, anyway, my point is, Everybody that watch Monty loves him some Coach Prime. Slurp those cut off toes, bro. Slurp them up,
bro.
Look, Lefty is a good coach. I'm with you. I don't love Deion Sanders. Like, I don't.
Do you believe?
What, other than they're a rival to Utah, why do I give a rat's ass about Deion Sanders in Colorado? They're great talking points, but I don't really care about Deion Sanders.
The unbelievers.
I mean, and now that he's going to be the head coach at USC, which he's not.
Oh, no.
You know, but could you imagine Prime recruiting at USC? James, Oregon is going to build a new IPF with a clear.
To God, dude.
What does beer have to do with this?
Who in the comments section knows what an IPF is?
It's
just out of curiosity.
Isn't that a kind of beer, an IPF? It's like a local brew, isn't it?
Right.
You know,
yeah. Right.
They're going to build a new can of beer with a clear roof. Okay. That's cool. If any stadium needs an upper deck, the visiting side of God, fuck. Can you? You're never to say. You're never to say that anybody needs to put an upper deck on a stadium ever. The racist chants that happen at Autzen are just fine without an upper deck.
Yeah.
Way to put a target on your team's back. Yes. Boyd Lake, a silly prank has you flustered. No, I just hate.
It's not a prank, dude.
I hate Oregon. I said it. I hate Oregon. I hate Oregon. I hate everything about Oregon. I love their uniforms. And I like Nike. Okay, so I hate most things about. And I like Dan Lanning as a coach. I wouldn't mind him at Notre Dame. So I don't hate Oregon necessarily. Well, I do. You put a duck in the White River. And I don't understand it.
Yeah.
It's fine. LeDuck. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Buffalo Hunter, best comment of the day, LeDuck. Where's LeDuck season at? The Buffalo Hunter. Thanks, James. James wants Buffalo Hunter. James would like you to put a new upper deck on your house. If you could just,
A lot.
Penix shot and killed duck season. Okay. Probably not real couth. Ladani and anyway. Look at, man, wouldn't it have been amazing if you could have had a Washington fan just like tear a hole in that duck and sink? That would have been awesome.
Yeah.
Look, if the Ohio State does actually lose to an offensively retooling Michigan, Day should be fired. Well, but that goes without saying.
Yeah, it's just a given.
That goes without saying. There's no doubt. The Ghost of Gumby. Would LaPrime's cut off toes taste better after a few minutes on a roller?
Oh, no.
Damn. Damn.
What am I?
LaPrime.
Okay, you're stuck on LaPrime. I'm stuck on the fact that he wants to cook and eat Deion's decapitated toes. Damn. Missing toe slurper, Monty. That's what Jake is. Going deep. See me on the little screen. Oregon marketing and media team is next level. I agree. Sure. Dude that abides. I'm happier with a win over the Ohio State this year than the Natty, honestly. Shut up.
Yeah.
No, you're not.
Yeah.
Well, we could be back-to-back Natties or we could beat Ohio State. Yeah, I think we'll take Ohio State. Well, I mean, because, listen, honestly, the Hoover Vacuum Bowl, we've already agreed to go and play there. And we're going to have on the bus ride down to Cock Scratch, Arkansas. We're going to play the Connor Stallions Netflix documentary on the bus for all the kids to watch.
Fine
about
Steeler guy.
The single greatest guy that's ever worked at Michigan football. I mean, forget La Harbaugh. He quit on us. I'm telling you that La Hoover really is the guy that saved our championship.
That'd be America's team.
So when we go down there to Butt Crack Sweat bowl game, it's going to be amazing.
Doesn't get any more red, white, and blue than that.
La Hoover.
James, indoor practice facility.
Dude, oh my God, bro, James, dude. Dude, we know what it is. Bro, we know what it is.
I want so badly to not mock you
Bro.
daily on this show. I try.
You put us in a really bad position not to mock you, bro.
And listen, I understand
Wow,
that
Marty.
that your Oak State, TCU, Baylor, Preston Stone's cock fan. I understand that.
Stay hard.
I totally get it. I understand that. And I try to just read your comments and be like, man, that was a really good comment.
Yeah, man, really detailed. Like,
ain't nobody giving a flying flipboard. I don't know what that is about. Oh man, you guys, we ought to go and get that new pale ale IPF from Oregon's stadium. Nobody cares. IPF. Is that an initial public funding? No. With all of James's upper deck talk, do not let him use your bathroom. Exactly right. He will. Well, he is an OSU alum, so he can't hang anything over the railing. But you understand what I'm saying,
right?
He'll poke a pinhole in your wall.
Right.
UW fan Jim, amen, Monty. Ducks are trashy. Damn good, but trashy.
Yeah.
Some odd ducks in Oregon. So you're an odd duck. OG Gary, or paint 2 big ass W's on that duck. Hey man. No upper deck at BYU. Leave the mountain vista alone. Don't kill a good thing.
Seriously.
Oak State James came in and was like, "Oh yeah, we got to put an upper deck on the visitor side at whatever that Mormon villa is."
Shut the fuck up, Donnie.
You know where they won the fake natty in 1984?
Shut the fuck up, Donnie.
Heisman my ass. Heisman? No.
Why don't you fuck off?
Yeah, he's no Brandon Whedon. Anyway, Oak State James was like, "Oh yeah, we should put an upper deck at Rice Eccles Stadium. And then, we could put one at Lavelle Edwards. Can you imagine all the Mormons getting crazy in their underwear with caffeinated beverages in the upper deck?" By the way, did you guys see they amended the honor code at BYU? Sitting in the upper deck at the new Lavelle Edwards Stadium, that's an honor code violation. The Utes are up there, and we know they smoke weed. It's possession by consumption, bro.
Yeah.
So can't sit up there, honor code violation.
Yeah.
Signed Oak State James. I'm going to hell. Mike Smith, James is the undisputed champion of Lamani Triggerman.
Lamani Triggerman.
Willie Wilson, you said put IPF in the comment section. Gee whiz. There you go. Oregon is the Kardashians of college football.
Huh?
I don't disagree. I don't disagree with that. They're the Kardashians of college football, as Canyons Golf is the official golf course of the Monty Show. Canyons Golf in Park City. I will be playing. I need a playing partner. I'm playing alone on Sunday morning.
That's not true, bro. It's not true.
And Saturday morning, I'm playing alone.
Well, Saturday you are. Where's Mrs. Monty? What's she doing?
Unlike you, she's not told when she's allowed to play golf or ride her bike. She does it whenever she damn well pleases. Canyons Golf, I need a playing partner Sunday morning. Who's up for it? Let's go. OG Gary continues to tell me he's an amazing golfer who never shows up at a golf course.
My fucking ass.
That's fine. But yeah, Canyons Golf, the official golf club of the Monty Show. Amazing mountain golf. Beautiful vistas to hit off of. The tee boxes are elevated. There is nothing like hitting a great drive and watching it fly in mountain golf. If you haven't played mountain golf, you're really missing out. I love it. I love Canyons because the greens are challenging. They're undulated greens. And Canyons Golf at Park City Mountain is spectacular. From their par threes, where I hit these beautiful draws into their par threes, because, well, frankly, that's what I do. To their elevated tee boxes, their lush fairways. I love it. You get to play with mooses and deers watching you. And that makes it more funner to play golf at Park City Mountain Resort. It is affordable. And if you're one of our Utah listeners, I'm just asking you, why are you playing Mountain Dell instead of Park City Mountain Resort, Canyons Golf? Somebody needs to explain this to me. Mountain Dell might be the most unenjoyable course in the state of Utah. I cannot stand that place. It is rock hard. It is brown. And people are like, oh, this is the greatest course ever. Yet 15 minutes up the canyon for the exact same price, you can play Canyons golf, resort style golf at Park City Mountain. I've never understood it. And I think it's wild to me that you can pay municipal prices to play resort style golf at Canyons Golf. Join us this weekend. Jake allegedly will be there. I doubt it. I doubt it. Mike Smith says Monty's seeming to indicate that Jakey is pee-whipped.
You're hating.
I'm not.
You are.
How come you're not playing golf Saturday?
Because I'm moving.
Because you couldn't get permission.
What do you mean I couldn't get permission? I'm moving, bro.
How come you're not playing Friday?
Because I don't want to play Friday. I got to get ready to move.
Because you couldn't get permission.
No.
Is what it is, man.
No.
You got to just own that.
No.
You got to just own that. I'm telling you. It's more funner to play golf than to move. Are you at least hiring movers? No.
Yes.
Can I borrow your truck? No. You're going to help me move? No.
Yes, we are hiring movers.
Why are you getting defensive all of a sudden?
I'm not getting defensive. We have a donation that I'm trying to get over to you.
Oh, we do. Oh.
Yeah. Yes.
Jake has to ask permission to golf.
I don't have to ask permission to golf. Okay. That's just not true.
Okay. You know. You get so mad when we talk about it. Every guy pretty much is in that situation. I don't know that I would say I have to ask permission, but I certainly do discuss my tee times.
More.
I do. Maury Alvarez with the $10 donation. Appreciate that, Maury. Make your donation. Giving Friday is this Friday. You know, we talk about the advocates. They're doing this, what I think is an all-out effort to make sure the kids have the tools they need to go to school and be educated and succeed at a high level. Because the only way that you break the cycle of poverty and homelessness is by taking significant action. And when you're trying to do something significant, it takes significant action, right? And I think that's what the advocates are doing, partnering with the Road Home. And I just really appreciate that you guys continue to donate and support their initiatives. This is their Venmo. Look at Maury Alvarez. Ryan Day should have a better year with no cheater khakis. Also, if you want to add emojis, do it here. Exactly right.
Right.
Exactly right.
That's a smart play. You won't get put in a timeout.
Yeah, like asking permission to go golf.
Yeah.
That's
right.
the smart play.
Yeah.
So appreciate the Venmo donations, advocates donations on Venmo. Put Monty and the kids in the comment section. That'd be awesome.
Lamonti,
Show, like whatever you want. $1, $5, $100. Every penny goes to the Road Home to support kids in basic necessities for school. Things like backpacks, school supplies, pencils, pens, papers, clothing, shoes, socks, food. Like all of the things that kids need. The Road Home and the advocates are working hard to provide for them. $1, $5, $100. Hook it up. Advocates donations on Venmo, no matter where you are. Tanner Plummer. Marty, you're not helping your own boy move. No, I'm not a mover.
No,
I'm not a mover.
And I think people get this confused too. We don't move things. We work our ass off to make some money to get people to move stuff for us. And then, once you get all your stuff moved, then you can start to put your place together.
Yeah, I'm not.
So
I'm not doing it.
I didn't even ask for help moving. I mean, I'm sure you'll come over and help put the place together a little bit or whatever. But I don't want, I'm not the guy. I'm not like, yeah, hey, bro, here's a 6-pack of beer. We're going to move a bunch of stuff today. I'm not doing that. I got things to do. I hired movers. They got to move the girlfriend's apartment. Then they're going to come to my apartment. Then they're going to the new place. And literally, I even told the mover, funny story. I told the mover, hey, bro, I'm not trying to have this take all day. I'd love to get started early. Let's get done by noon and let's get on with business. And really, I think the over-under on them being done moving us is like 4 hours tops.
Good luck.
Tops.
Good luck. Says a guy who's never hired movers. They do not work on your clock. You work on theirs. We got to take mandatory breaks, bro. 30-minute break here. You're getting 6 hours minimum. I guarantee it. Do you have a prearranged fee or?
Yeah, we discussed. They have like a I don't remember all the numbers off the top of my head. It was like 2 weeks ago, but basically they have like their fee to start the move. It's like, I think it was like 165.
It's a minimum.
And then there's like an hourly rate.
Yeah. There you go. I'm not,
I just think it's well worth the expense.
J2H getting that entitled attitude from Big Daddy. Oh, really?
Stay hard.
Really? Now I'm fat. Okay.
I mean, I just don't know why. I feel like in our country, it's uncouth to hire movers. Like,
Yeah,
I feel like
I'm not moving.
Like, I feel like people are like,
not
oh,
doing
you're a 1%er for hiring movers. Really, dude? Because I look at Google and all these other platforms, and there's movers everywhere in business. So I think that a lot of people actually do use movers.
The thing that I always tell people is, I'm happy to hire a U-Haul. I'll get the U-Haul. I'll drive the U-Haul. I'm hiring labor to load it and unload it.
Yeah.
I'm not generally the guy that's like, yeah, they're gonna pack my stuff too. I'll pack my stuff.
Yeah.
You pick it up.
And that's the thing too
you
with
take
this
it out of
move.
the truck.
Like we don't have a lot of stuff. Like we're asking the movers to essentially move 2 beds, 2 entertainment centers, a desk, and a recliner. Like, it's not like it's like they're moving everything. I mean, we've essentially done most of the moving last weekend. We just need them to move our furniture and stuff. That's why I'm saying it's
But I thought you bought new furniture.
No, we bought a sectional and we bought a TV and a sound bar. Those are the 3 things we bought, but we're keeping both of our beds, or I'm keeping my recliner. Like, so it's kind of a mix.
What about the chair and a half?
I think
too many seminal fluids.
Yeah, we're retiring the chair and a half, bro.
You are?
Yeah, I'm retiring the chair and a half.
What are you going to do with it?
I don't know yet. I don't know. Like, there's not really a donate place. I don't know that.
Yes, there is. What do you mean?
Well, but yeah, I don't know. That's
Savers,
it's pretty beat, dude. It's pretty beat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. When I moved into my house, I hired movers. Well worth the money and the ease. Yes, it is. Where has Big Daddy Magic been? DMing me on TikTok is where I don't know where he's been. I don't know where
social media.
I have no idea. By the way, I did miss this. Mike Smith gifted 1 Monty Show membership. Thank you very much. Thank you. I have never hired a mover, but it was just a financial decision. I would now if I ever moved again. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Mike Smith, you do not hire movers in West Virginia. They will steal your prescription meds.
Okay.
Seems serious. That's what you kind of got to pack your own stuff.
Yeah.
You got to pack your own stuff. All right. Are we doing politics today? What are we doing today?
I mean, apparently we got a lot of criticism because we talk politics at the end of the show.
Yeah, but we also got 700 comments about politics yesterday.
Yeah, so people want to talk about it.
Clearly, and this is the thing. A lot of people ask us about this. Why do you guys are a sports show, fat ass? Stick to it. Okay, well, A, welcome to the show, new guy. B, we talk about what everybody's talking about. And for my money, anyways, I think it is imperative to have conversations about tough subjects.
Yeah, I think it's irresponsible not to be talking about what's going on.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think what we have is, yes, exactly, Tanner. Marty, shut up and rage about sports.
Yeah,
right?
Seriously.
Exactly. I think what is really important is that we talk about the tough things.
Yeah.
Because too many times it is, and this is just in my opinion, too many times we get into these situations where you don't have a forum to talk about things that are important. And I think when you look at politics, I think it's the most important thing going on. And we were talking the other day, for instance, about like all of the rhetoric that Joe Biden was dead.
Right.
Remember that the other day? We were saying,
Yeah.
oh, Joe Biden's dead. And
No, I haven't seen him since the announcement.
he died on Air Force One. Not true. Now he's giving a speech. How long until we get, well, it's AI. It's a body double, bro. How long until we get that, right? Like, I think and I think I said this yesterday on the show, that the Republican side of this battle is going to do everything they can do to attack Kamala Harris and I think file multiple lawsuits to try and make her life difficult. Well, what do you know? They filed a lawsuit yesterday claiming that Kamala Harris defrauded the election, the FEC, the Federal Election Commission, and that she is committing, quote unquote, the largest fraud in the history of American politics because she has full access to, which pretty much everybody agrees to, the $90 million Biden war chest. But what is going to, I think what you're going to continue to see here is until the Republicans start talking about actual issues in this election, Kamala Harris is going to continue to pull ahead of Donald Trump. And it's pretty remarkable that you look at some of these numbers and 80% of Democratic voters say they viewed Biden favorably. 91% say they view Harris favorably. 78% of all voters have a favorable view of Kamala Harris, which, okay, she's coming out of this weekend craziness. Okay, let's say that those numbers are higher, right? Okay. Here's the part that should really worry Trump voters. If you are a Trump supporter, this should worry you. Voters were shown a hypothetical ballot that included Robert F. Kennedy, Harris, and Trump. On the ballots that included Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Kamala Harris led Donald Trump 42-38, which is outside of the 2.5-point margin of error. And the news, I don't know how many people saw the news that Donald Trump and RFK Jr. talked as many as half a dozen times this past weekend, negotiating for Robert Kennedy to drop out of the race. Now, what most people don't know, he does not qualify for just about anybody's ballot. He is on less than a dozen ballots for president at this moment because he hasn't qualified. He hasn't met the signature requirements. But this shows you that the original fear of Donald Trump's campaign is valid, that Robert Kennedy Jr. was going to dilute his vote because he's not a guy that is looked on as a Democrat as much as I think he'd like to be. He's looked at as a conservative Republican. And I think he's a problem for Donald Trump. They've got to find a way to get him out. And I think if the rumors are true that they're offering him, if the reporting is true, that they're offering Kennedy a cabinet spot, I would be stunned. Now, a job in the administration, that makes sense. But if you believe some of the reporting out there, dude, you cannot offer Kennedy a cabinet spot. That's outrageous that you would do that. There is just no way you can do that. And it'll be interesting to see with the way that Kamala Harris is polling, because just in a general poll, she's leading Donald Trump significantly. And granted, I say significantly, it's exactly 3 points, which is, I think it's in the margin of error. It just depends on who you like. But 56% of registered voters agree with the statement that Harris was mentally sharp and able to deal with challenges. 49% said the same of Trump. And 57% said that Donald Trump, his age is a concern because he's 78 years old. And that is something that I think the Republicans are going to have to deal with. And I think they've done a very good job the Democrats have done a very good job of pushing the age narrative now. What's the first thing we heard? Oh, Donald Trump is the oldest presidential nominee ever. And it's true because Joe Biden's no longer a nominee. And I think that's going to be a problem for Trump. And I also think Kamala Harris, and we'll see if she can continue this way of speaking. She actually did very well in Milwaukee yesterday. And I was quite surprised that she spoke as poignantly and as passionately as she did, and as clearly and as methodically as she did. And you can tell that the Democrats are on message. They have a message. They have a candidate who is going to read the prompter and stay on point. And if she continues to deliver that,
Yeah.
I think that's going to be effective. And you start looking at this poll was done by Reuters, by the way. It's going to be kind of interesting to see how all of this plays out. And we're not talking about a small group of people. This was 1,000 registered voters.
Yeah. I mean, I think the mental competency piece is what complicates this election for both sides. I mean, it used to be that we didn't have to worry about whether a candidate was competent enough to take office. But now, after Joe Biden's situation, we're in a situation now where we got to look at Trump and say, hey, like, you know, if we're going to apply that to Biden, I mean, we certainly have to apply it to some level on Trump, being that he's of similar age. And, you know, depending on the reporting, you believe in decent health. But I think that what's not being reported or talked about is I do think on both sides of the aisle, our country is thirsty for a young candidate. I think that people are not realizing that, yeah, once you present that young candidate, that's really going to change things. Because I think it's refreshing. Like, for years now, you're talking about for almost a decade, the American people only hearing from folks who are 70 years of age or older.
Well, it's the J.D. Vance card. And
Yeah.
I think that's why J.D. Vance originally, and I don't, there's a lot of people who are painting J.D. Vance as like somehow this dead guy now. I don't think he ended himself. I think he did a lot of damage. And I think these commercials that are going to come out, and I think you're going to see them widespread, especially on social media, of him specifically talking poorly about Donald Trump for the last decade. That's what's going to do real damage to him, because it's going to be awfully difficult to get away from the things that J.D. Vance said. But his youth, to your point, that's what makes him such a brilliant pick. But does that youth and enthusiasm outweigh what was a really bad initial public rally?
Well, and I would expect
That
him
was
to
a bad
improve
rally
on his speeches. I would expect him to work on that part of his game. I mean, frankly, I think the ticket needs him to work on that part of his game.
Oh, no doubt about
Like,
it.
I
No
think
doubt
people, I think your average Joe American doesn't understand how important it is for the VP candidate of the ticket to be a strong speaker and to go out and cover other areas where maybe, you know, Donnie's not going to go. You need to, because the VP's job is to go out into those smaller areas and get those voters rounded up. And I think that, you know, Vance has to show an ability to do that, because it's not just giving the speech, it's moving people during the speech. And that's where I think he just has to improve a little bit. And I think he can. That's the thing. I think that he can. I think he can.
There's no way to get away from what he said about Donald Trump. How do you spin? Well, like, what is strategically? Can you spin what he has said about Trump? I think that's going to be really tough.
That he prejudged Trump. That he, when he was saying those things, he was uneducated. He didn't know Trump at that time. Like, he just, you know, he was speaking about Trump based on what the media was, you know, writing about or something. Like, the classic play is blame the media, say you were misinformed, and say you had a renaissance. I mean, that's what they're going to go with.
But I also think it's a lot brighter of a microscope if J.D. Vance continues to have flubs the way he had flubs the other night. If he continues to talk about, and this is one of the things I think is really stupid strategy. Like, you've got to ask yourself, attacking Kamala Harris, as somebody that is a DEI candidate is really stupid. Attacking her and talking about how she was, I can't remember the verbiage they used, but promiscuous in college, and how she slept her way to the top of the political totem pole is really stupid. Being essentially saying, because when you're saying that she's an equity candidate and you only hired her because she's a woman and she's, black. And what you're saying is she's not good enough. And that is the message you're sending to women, to minorities, to black voters, certainly to housewives, to moms, like saying that JD Vance with this thing where you're saying that the Democratic Party is stocked with people who don't have children. And Kamala Harris has 2 stepchildren. Pete Buttigieg has 2 children of his own. Like, these are major mistakes. These are not small, minute things. You're attacking black voters. You're attacking women voters. And you're trying to say that Kamala Harris slept around when your lead candidate has multiple sex scandals. He's on all over the Epstein scandal. This E. Jean Carroll sexual assault case he lost. This, the grab him by the ho-ho, the Stormy Daniels thing. Like, you have a candidate that is, his main problem is he has a track record of not treating women well.
Yeah.
And now what are you doing as a party? You're attacking the presidential presumptive nominee for being sexually promiscuous and not good enough. Like, this messaging, and it's, again, I think the biggest issue is it's not Donald Trump saying that she, and I think the comment was made that she whored herself out.
Yeah.
That's it. Notice it's not Donald saying that. Who are the people saying this stuff? It's guys like JD Vance, who you really need to be on message that the borders are thing, as untrue as it is. That's what you should be going after. Go after the policies that you believe the Biden administration was incredibly flawed on, because Donald Trump saying that Joe Biden's the worst president ever. Talk about that. Hit on immigration. And they're, again, I think the biggest flaw in this immigration thing is she was never named the borders are. And there's not widespread crime amongst illegal immigration and those that are in the country illegally. There's not widespread crime.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm the Republicans, I'm going after the Middle East situations that Biden found.
I am going after Kamala Harris on Afghanistan.
Yeah. I mean, that's easy.
I'm asking if she can be trusted with foreign policy because of their decision to pull out of Afghanistan so quickly and hastily.
Yeah.
I am going after her on the fact that she was in charge of policy making from a high view on immigration. Now, the problem with that, of course, is that what did she already do, and what are the Democrats already doing? Throwing right back in their face. Well, Kamala Harris was also the lead negotiator on a bipartisan border bill that Donald Trump killed.
Yeah.
So I think immigration is a weak argument because you had that done. But now your messaging is well, she's never been to the border. She went to El Paso. She's the border czar. She never was. Like, your messaging is fucked here.
Well,
you need to get on talking points. If you want to talk about, like they say, inflation, it's going to be tough to argue inflation.
But here's the thing. Their strategy isn't, I agree with you, but I don't think the Republicans look at it in that way. I think that what the Republicans think they need to do to win this election is just stay on the talking points that appease the base. Just even if they're untrue, even if maybe, like your point about, the woman arguments, the things they say about women are heinous things that you shouldn't be saying, but because your base just eats that stuff up, you're going to continue to say those things. And you think that that's enough to win the election. And my biggest fear for the Republicans is they have their blinders on right now. They're not understanding that, hey, the Democrats just pulled this big move where they got Biden to step down as a potential nominee, and they just put up a much younger candidate with a potentially young in his prime VP, and that's going to appease the masses. I'm telling you, if you are a Trump supporter and you don't see this dynamic at play where the Democratic ticket, whether you like it or not, appeases or appeals to the masses in our country
Yes.
more than the Trump Vance ticket does, you're missing the boat here. That's why they need to change their strategy.
And I think I just want the Republicans to get on real world talking points. And they continue to go to this stuff about the border and I agree. And yeah, I agree. All right, let's see where you guys are at. Giggity. If I'm Kamala, I'm going after Trump agreeing to release 5,000 Taliban prisoners because they called him Your Excellency. Well, and this is going to come back up, and we've talked about this, that the Republican machine is tried to notice it's gone away now. They tried to say that the Taliban came to Camp David during Trump's administration, and he threatened them and had a meeting with them, and they were so intimidated by him that they called him Your Excellency. That meeting never happened. The Afghanistan misnomer that the Taliban, that never happened. The Taliban were never at Camp David. They never called him Your Excellency. That just never happened. And it's one of these things where they tried, I think they do these test balloons, and I don't understand it. They do these test balloons where, last week it was that you had your social media influencers, because one of the strategies I think has really worked, and it creates misinformation, is they use social media influencers on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook to test balloon these theories. Oh, well, Kamala's not, she can't be the president. She's not a citizen because her mom is from India, and like her parents are not American born.
Right.
And she's been elected multiple times. That failed miserably, right? Like the whole she's from India thing just never worked. But they try that. They try these test balloons of the Taliban was at Camp David. They were never at Camp David.
Right.
That goes away. Now it's into this whole thing where she, slept her way to the top of the political food chain in California. Then it was, hey, she put marijuana users in jail. Well, she was the attorney general and she was a prosecutor.
Yeah.
And at the time she was a prosecutor, marijuana crimes were still being prosecuted in the state of California. So that didn't work. Like they're trying all of this stuff to slander her instead of using the Republican talking points that will move new voters to your base of voters.
Yes.
Because there's this whole group of people that I think are undecided. And now Kamala Harris has come in. She's raised a record-breaking amount of money. And you're suing her to try and keep her from getting access to more money. You're floating, like Mike Johnson floating this lie that she's not eligible to be on the ticket. Again, 10 different ways. And even Republican strategists yesterday on Fox saying that argument just isn't going to go anywhere. Even if you get a Trump-appointed judge, which is what they were trying to point at here. Hey, let's get to a Trump-appointed judge who will throw her off the ballot. Can't do it. There's no precedent. There's no law. Like, talk about her policies. Talk about the fact that she doesn't support the death penalty.
Yeah.
Talk about the fact that she wouldn't support the death penalty for a cop killer. Like, these things are not difficult. Talk about her lack of foreign policy experience.
Yet they're making it very difficult.
And I don't know how you do it. Andy H said, bro, she said she was an Indian because her mother is from India, man. Did I not just say that? Her mother is from India.
What are you confused about?
Like,
Harris is a U.S. citizen with Indian heritage.
It's wild to me. It is wild to me. Mike Smith, Trump looking to hire Baghdad Bob as his next press secretary.
Yeah.
And for a guy that plays the PR game so well, they've got to get on message, because I think if we learned anything from Kamala Harris yesterday, she's on message. She is the prosecutor going after the criminal. That is what I would assume that is what her messaging is going to be, is that she is a tough on crime prosecutor. And what did she say? Yeah, I've dealt with criminals like Donald Trump. Okay, well, Donald Trump's got to have a scripted reply to that.
Yeah.
That can't come from JD Vance. It's got to come from Donald.
And I don't know what you're saying back to 34 felony convictions.
I think you have to. I think you have to message off of that.
Yeah,
I
agree. There's no rebuttal to it, and I think that so this is the challenge for the Republicans now. You don't have the advantage in the field of play that you once had over Biden. So, and I think you're right. You've been saying the whole time that Trump's never going to debate Harris. And I doubt that happens because I think that Trump would lose in a debate with Harris. She's very good at debating. But I don't know. I that's why I wonder, is it that the Republicans just want a message to the base they have now and they think that's enough to win? Or is it that they feel like they don't have a lot of real valid points right now to message on? So they're doing these test balloons, as you say, to try to get traction somewhere. That's the hard part. And again, like, if you want to say I'm slanted towards Harris or whatever, I'm just telling you what I see. I see a candidate in a ticket that was basically born out of the fire in the Democratic Party because your candidate fell on his face during his presidential term.
Yeah.
And now they are doing what they should be doing, which is stay on the talking points, go around the country, and don't F it up. Don't
I agree.
Go off topic. Don't go off script. Stay on your talking points.
But get new talking points.
Yeah, keep refreshing them.
Again, I go back to this thing where this Trump Republican Party can't. It's almost like they don't have a creative team who can create new talking points. So what did they try to do to Obama? Where's your birth certificate? What are they doing to Kamala Harris? Where's your birth certificate? Right? Because she's, her dad's Jamaican, her mom's Indian. She can't possibly, like John Eastman, I think it was, I was reading last night, wrote an article, an op-ed piece for Newsweek that they had to retract, talking, about the birther argument with her. Like it just isn't supported by fact or law. But yet you're doing the same thing you tried to do to Barack Obama to Kamala Harris. And it comes off not as unknowing, it comes off as racist. And if we learned anything from Barack Obama's rise, the more you tried to talk about his birth certificate, the more you talked about, all of these racist angles, the worse it got for you. And the rise or fall of Kamala Harris should not be based in, hey, her parents are from Jamaica and India, she can't possibly be the president. Or she slept her way to the top. Or she's not good enough because she's a woman who's of mixed cultures. Like, you guys are fucking this up.
Yeah.
Go after her on her record. Go after her on the things because Republican talking points should be immigration. It should be, because you're not going to win on inflation, because now you can see, hey, but if you want to hit her on inflation, the policies that the Biden administration put forward and some tax changes and executive orders that pushed inflation, you can try that. You can try that. The problem is immediately, and I think they're setting a honeypot for Donald Trump. They're going to go right to his tariffs, and they're going to go right to his lack of job creation. I think that, so you got to be really measured in this stuff. And so far, JD Vance saying that she doesn't have kids, she does, makes her, like tone deaf. Here's the other thing that you forgot about, dude. You're talking to millennials. When you say that people without kids are not qualified to lead, you're talking to millennials who, I don't know if you realize this, are going to be one of the most powerful voting sectors of our population. And somebody that, I don't know how many people realize Kamala Harris is not 28 or 38 or 40. She's 58 years old.
Mm-hmm.
She is resonating with the Gen Y. She is resonating with Gen Z. She is resonating with Gen X. She is resonating with millennials. And depending on who she winds up with, and I still maintain Andy Beshear is probably her pick. But, I mean, if you're worried about military and if you're worried about, being tough, Mark Kelly's probably the better VP candidate, although a lack of experience is going to be a huge problem there. But the way that Andy Beshear's gone after JD Vance, I'd have to believe that he's the leader.
He's a bulldog, no doubt. No doubt.
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see exactly how all of this plays out.
Yeah. Well, and I think OG Gary's comment right there about Harris's prior debate performances. Yeah, I know that she hasn't been a juggernaut in debates in the past, but what are you seeing out of the behavior? Because what I look at, the reason I think she'll be good in a debate right now is because she's sharp and she's got the energy. So that's number one for a debate. You got to be sharp mentally. You got to know what you're going to rebuttal with. That because that's how debates go. You know what Don's going to be saying. What are you going to be saying back?
Well, and we continue to do this thing where we think that she hasn't evolved or changed.
Yeah. This
that
is
was
someone
4.5
evolved.
years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do we really believe that she is the same person in debates that she was in that Tulsi Gabbard disaster? If that's your belief, and OG Gary, I don't know if that is or not, but if that's your belief, you're in trouble.
Yeah, you got to do more homework.
Because now she's been the vice president for 3.5 years. Now she is experienced in dealing with real world issues. And she's already showing you that out on the stump, she's a far better speaker and she is a far better performer than she has been at any time in her political career.
Yeah.
Because she did not hesitate. And the other thing that I thought was so interesting, she wasn't reading a teleprompter, friends. She was speaking to people. And her clear message was, I'm a prosecutor, he's a criminal, which side are you on? And it's a strong position.
It is.
And arguably,
it is.
We'll see how that plays.
But I just think we haven't yet seen, and this is something that I'm waiting to see. I would expect Don to respond well, for the record, but we haven't seen Don go up against someone, even Hillary. When we had the Trump-Hillary debates, like Hillary was not a great debater. She just wasn't. He dominated her in debates, in my opinion. But we haven't seen someone match Trump's energy in a debate. And I think that's where Harris potentially could make some gains because, like you said, she has no fear of like being in your face with it and having a lot of energy and being a big personality. And I think that that's a really interesting dynamic because I do hope they debate. I really do. And Don said
I think
he's
it's
willing.
necessary.
And,
I think it's necessary.
Yeah. And I would love for the debate to be a little different than this last one we got with Biden and Trump. I would like it to be a traditional debate. I want it to be, hey, there's moderators, but we don't get to see the true colors of people unless they can go back and forth. And that's what I think we as Americans need.
Can she? Because she's going to have to prove that she can debate. Like if you're a Democrat, that should be a very important moment in your decision making to vote for her.
Yeah,
she is going to have to be on message in counterpoint, right? Because it's easy to roll out in your opening statement, but because I think we know the Trump playbook, he's going to say a bunch of stuff that's not true. You've got to be ready with the retort to that.
Yes.
Because he's going to talk about how his administration created more jobs than any other administration in history, which is completely not true. And there are facts and statistics she's got to have ready to back that up. He's going to say, you were the border czar. You guys have failed miserably. There's widespread crime and murders and rapes taking place because illegal immigration. She's got to have the retort to that.
Yeah.
Because it's not true.
And it's got to be confident and polished and you got to be able, it's not good enough just to have the answer. You need to deliver that answer and push him. And that's where
I would agree with that.
That's where Donald Trump excels in debates. He smothers the person he's debating. And if I was coaching Harris, not that that'll ever happen, but if I was coaching her, I would say, hey, you know what to expect out of this guy. You know that he's going to try and smother you. He's going to say stuff that isn't true. And you got to be willing to talk right over him and hammer home the point. That's what you have to do to win a debate.
And
with Don.
furthermore, I wouldn't talk over him. I would let him say whatever it is he's going to say. And then I would come back and just point for point, pick him apart. Because that's when he historically has gotten flustered. And Biden, as poorly as he did in that last debate, I think there are some nervous Nellies in the Republican Party about the poor performance we got from Donald Trump that night, too. Because he did not perform at a high level. I think there's real questions about both of their ability to stand and deliver in debate scenarios. And without Donald losing his shit and without her being unable to pull facts and statistics and and defend the Biden administration. Because the other thing she's kind of done that I think I would hit her on if I'm Donald Trump. She's talking about Joe Biden and the great track record. And I agree, Joe Biden's done some really good things. Job creation, infrastructure, the ability to get to the middle on immigration, like those are all great talking points. But it's tough to get away from some of his economic policies that I'm not going to say Joe Biden's at fault for inflation. He is at fault for accelerating inflation. But you've got to talk about when it comes to energy, because the Republican Party wants to message itself as the energy creators, the energy party. Joe Biden is barreling more oil than just about anybody else ever has. So you've got to get on message if you're the Republicans. It's a little frustrating to hear this party continually going back to Obama, going back to Hillary Clinton, going backward instead of pushing forward and pushing on past those old birther talking points, past the if we lose, there will be a civil war, which is what is being said. Like Donald Trump trying to get away from this Project 2025 stuff. Man, stop talking about it. Stop denying, like Donald Trump the other day, denying that he knows anybody again in Project 2025. Everybody at Project 2025, essentially, it's stocked with people that worked for Donald Trump in his campaigns, in his administration, and in his companies. The Heritage Foundation has a huge hand around that. Stop denying it. Start like those. That's your ticket. Stop trying to get away from this abortion debate. J.D. Vance, here's another huge problem. J.D. Vance, the Democratic machine rolled out that video of J.D. Vance, I think from 2017, where he supports abortion and talks about how he does not support a national abortion ban. And now all of a sudden, J.D. Vance is out here supporting an abortion ban. Like you've got to get your hands around how are you going to message female reproductive rights?
Yeah.
Because there's no win there. That's a loss for you across the board. I think everybody agrees with that. But your Project 2025 people and J.D. Vance talking about how people don't have kids so they can't lead. Message. Like, reel that guy in.
Be better.
That's a problem. UW fan Jim, not sure why they want her off the ticket if she is such a bad candidate. Because she's not a bad candidate.
No, I think she's a strong candidate.
You're not.
I do think this is going to be one of the toughest fights that we've seen in politics for to get elected.
I do. Are people really this stupid? If you're born in the U.S., you can run for president. I think they are.
Well, I just think that people don't know the law. Like whether it's the Biden nomination Harris thing, or whether it's your eligibility to take office. Like there's there's a million different things that people get confused about.
Yes, Gary. Giggity says. Damian Fowler, I think they have a team, but it's whatever Trump wants to talk about. You know damn well it's his way or the highway. I think that's true. It's his party. This current incarnation of the Republican Party is Donald Trump's party.
Yeah, but a man's got to know when, hey, like.
But that's not what you get with Donald Trump.
And I agree.
It would be different if this was a Bush, if this was a legacy politician candidate, if this was any other politician. Yeah, great. We can get him on message. You're not getting Donald Trump on message. You're not getting away from the fact that he goes off script and says shit that you just can't say. And it's hard to when he keeps attacking E. Jean Carroll, when he keeps going after stop talking about the 2020 election. Stop talking about election theft. Stop talking, he continues and his people cringe at it. Because I think he's surrounded by no matter what you think of him, he's surrounded by some really smart guys and gals, people. And he does not listen to them. And I think that it hurts him.
Yeah.
Mike Smith, yes, they are, Gary. Just look at the post below yours for confirmation. It is remarkable how uninformed. We had an argument yesterday about the primary process in this country.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's a good example.
Monday it was, I guess. Like, that people don't know the primary process, that people don't know that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden are essentially on the bank accounts for that campaign are in both of their names. They literally, we now know that it says and or. It's not even in question yet. You filed a federal lawsuit yesterday accusing Kamala Harris of committing perjury and felonies related to election law.
Yeah. It's a bad look.
When your guy is in the exact same position with the Stormy Daniels case, where he was found guilty of 34 felonies. It's just not well thought out. That is what it is. It's just not well thought out.
Yeah.
Giggity says Trump won't debate her. We'll see. I think you almost have to.
If you go on Google and you look at the reporting, everybody and their mom is saying that Trump, is absolutely willing to debate her and multiple debates, and whether he shows up or not is a different story.
It'll be interesting to see, how much AI stuff are we going to see in this election cycle?
Plenty.
Because we're already seeing a ton of her talking and it's not her talking. We're already seeing that. And the problem is it's getting more difficult and more difficult to out that stuff. And I think the bigger problem is that will automatically be tied to to the Republicans by the Democrats. It's always going to be the Republicans' fault. So I think I don't mean to be redundant. They've got to get a message and stick to it.
Yeah.
And with Donald Trump, it's going to be tough. If I was Harris, I would only agree to debate if the mics are off, if they turn off the mics. Otherwise, Trump will yell over her. Let him. It's such a bad look for him. It's such a bad look for him. Mike Smith's Freudian slip. What did I say that was a Freudian slip?
I don't know. I didn't hear anything.
I'm not sure what you meant by that. A couple more. I hate that AI stuff. Would not like it even if it's done to Trump.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
It's terrible. And there's Trump fakes out there for certain. Last one, Calford. I think most of the Republican Party is afraid of Trump and incurring the wrath of the hardcore MAGA Republicans. And I think that's why we have to be really understand where Donald Trump is in his arc. Like doing the Bryson DeChambeau video.
Brilliant.
Really
smart.
7 million views, I think it's
really smart.
The number one video on YouTube is Donald Trump and Bryson DeChambeau playing golf. It normalizes him.
And when the assassination attempt happened and they were doing all the interviews on the news, right? Fox and CNN interviewed the same guy who was sitting behind Trump, but wasn't injured or anything. And I thought that actually was really interesting because he wasn't like a MAGA, like hardcore conservative guy. He was like, hey, he literally says in the interview, hey, I'm supporting Trump because I just feel like he has the country's best interest at heart. The guy literally says, I really do believe that Trump is doing everything he can to push our country forward. And I'm good with that guy. Like, if you're that guy who genuinely in your heart of hearts believes that, hey, Don is trying to do everything he can to push our country forward, if you believe that's your right. But I think to that comment, like that sector that's like violent and like is like crazy, that's the one that I think is the loudest.
Civil War, the birther stuff. Like you got to get those guys out.
Y'all are the loudest, but you're also the smallest group of voters, in my opinion. I don't think that those guys represent us.
No, I agree. Good conversation as usual. We'll I'm sure have more of it tomorrow. More from Big Ten Media Days, more from the Olympics. A lot of news. Should a week from now, a lot of football news. Camps are open. We made it through the slow season in summer.
Yes.
Let's go. The Monty Show is always presented by The Advocates at theadvocates.com. The best injury attorneys in the business, motorcycles, cars. Got hurt at the grocery store, did you get hurt at work? The best workman's comp, theadvocates.com. Chat with an attorney. Live online for free, 24/7, 365 at theadvocates.com. Until tomorrow, say goodbye, Jake.
Goodbye, Jake.